of us at birth. I know this, at creation, inception, whatever. All of that we deserve, and we're going to get it. And this simulation will fail. It's already crumbling around us. They're trying at equal force and equal to the amount of us winning and the lies crumbling around us, the pixel overlay, if you will. It's been shaky and falling apart in fragments, all around us, 360, and in any country for about a few years now. Much more in this last 12 months. I've felt it and seen it, but I can say that with confidence that, oh no, God wins, we win. And I think that after this next attempt at the devil doing whatever the devil do, because he always do what he do, it ain't gonna work so well. He had a lot of helpers the last time with the whole timeline thing, and that's like the part of the timeline reset that's actually true and not just the mud flood psyop, that stuff, like you're mentioning, Lion. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, we're meant to live and inherit the earth the way it was intended. And I know that we're very close to it, and I feel like we're all very, very blessed to be alive during it, to witness it. So if you have those open receptors, it's going to be amazing to have you as a part of it, because I don't have a choice but to be a part of it. Me and my husband, whatever. It's amazing. So there's that. I have no fear. Actually, when I quit one thing in particular that was literally the devil inside me that I thought I needed, but I got rid of that. And so the last 2 months have been on and popping, if you will, for God. My purpose or whatever. Our purpose.
So yeah, trying to answer Andy's question of what the kingdom is like, I was gonna say that it's like Earth, as in there's rivers there's animals, trees, fruits, mist, rainbows, waterfalls, like all that exists, and everything is beautiful. It's like paradise, bro.
Well, it's in the book of life. How about it's just a part of his book of life, and all of our names are there, and the setting is whatever he sets it to be. And it's, I would imagine it's like that, what you just said.
It's described in many places in scripture. It's like Earth, except 10 times better. It's the most sanctified place in existence, set apart beyond, like Adam and Eve, according to the scriptures, couldn't even enter it. Because the thing is, Adam and Eve were made from the dust of the ground. And when Eve was pulled out of Adam's rib, that was a messy process. There was blood involved. And for reasons beyond me, right, that are not entirely understood, Adam and Eve, because they were made of the dust of the ground and there was blood involved, they had to wait a sanctification period before they could even step foot inside the Garden of Eden, which is the Holy of Holies, the dwelling of Yahweh.
It wasn't 10 years, but it was I don't know if there's a time mentioned in the text
40,
that you're reading.
It's according to the Torah. It's 40 days for the man and 80 days for the woman.
And see, this is something that us as a group need to come together and decode. How to decipher and decode to find the patterns in the times references for the amounts of times that transpire, because I think that they were maybe somewhere along the lines intentionally disrupted, because from Genesis, a day is not a day, 40 years is not 40 years. They mean something quite different. And then in Revelation, to have the most simple one of, you have 10 days until you repent and learn your lesson, as 10 days in prison, basically. Then you will have the crown of life and written in the name, my book of life, according to our Creator. So we got to find that pattern and come up with that, so that way we have a better, accurate thing. But honestly, where we're going, and where God oversees all day, every day, and worshiping at His feet are all of those 4 and 20 and the beasts and my wonderful 7 homies, with wings above, that I feel like I'm innately related to. Anyway, that whole thing. That can't happen. I mean, there's no such thing as a measurement or predictable pattern like we have constructs here that we created here. That is the folly, I believe, of man. And so I've never been one to pay mind to our time confinement and constraints, whether it's the minute, the hour, the second. I think it's garbage. And there's no way to scientifically or physically prove a measurement, because it doesn't freaking matter where we're meant to be and where we're going to end up if we trust in God. So I think the whole land of the East has a whole different thing. But if you guys, one of your arguments in this server last week, I believe, y'all were talking about if you just continually go east, something will happen, or it'll be a circle or something. And I think that is a metaphor in the texts, maybe, of from what I read and what you just mentioned, we don't want to walk in circles, but we also need to look up and trust in God. So wherever He's taken us, if that's to the east, then we need to just be okay, as long as we're not looking down here and like at things that are selfish and not of God. I don't know. But yeah, it's not our fault, but it's going to get corrected. There's going to be a wiping. And what did they say? The main gist of all of these texts is that what's meant for us is God wiping all of our tears from ever even being able to cry again. That is the sweet reward, for all of us in white linen. So I have full faith that that's where we're all meant to be. But some of us just really like to get sidetracked with this garbage and false everything, that it makes me weep for them, honestly. Anger's not good.
Sydney, would you mind if I asked you a question?
Please do, Mr. Fake Voice. Please do.
Mr. What?
I'm sorry, what's your name?
I don't know. You just said something. Mr. What? You said Mr.
I was just asking for your name, please. So I know who
I'm Sir Vagabond.
You can ask.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask basically, like, do you perceive that like between men and women interactions, do you feel like there's an imbalance going on at the current moment?
No.
Okay. So where do you feel like
if we read the scriptures, we would know and hold each other in the same respect. A wife and a husband will know this if it's a godly union. But
okay. So where do you but where do you feel
different roles of equal importance, different roles of individually and equal importance, and that's written in the text of the Bible too. So.
Okay, I understand that. So where do you feel like the conflict is arising from?
Those that are lost in their heart, which is not connected again with God. Those that have lost their way and connection from God, but they can get it back. It's so easy, but they choose not to, or they don't know how to. That's
okay.
it.
Please excuse me in advance for just being
I'm not upset with you. Continue asking. I'll always answer honestly.
Yeah. But I just want to excuse myself in advance for just being like a little inquisitive. If you wouldn't mind. If you wouldn't mind. Okay. I just wanted to do it. I wanted.
Just continue asking.
Okay. That's okay. I don't mind. I did the precursor on purpose.
You don't need to do that. It's fine.
I know I don't need to, but I do it in advance anyway.
Continue asking another question if you have them.
So basically, like between men and women interactions, where do you feel like the conflicts exist?
I just told you.
No,
that individual man or that individual woman with a traumatized or bruised heart that is not connected anymore from God, but they can get it back again if they so choose, like I did.
So you feel like they can no longer connect with other people while they're bruised?
No, I didn't say anything about that.
Okay, so what are you saying?
I'm saying if they ask God in a genuine format, for a genuine, non-selfish reason, because they want to know the answer of truth and to feel happy, maybe, what we're all meant to feel, then they will do what I did and ask in any way, shape, form, out loud in your head, doesn't freaking matter, drunk, sober, doesn't matter, on your knees, outside, in the grass, with your kids. Ask for help. You ask for help and you can get that opened up again.
So do you believe happiness is a choice?
I wasn't living a life until I got that and did that. So there you go.
I understand, but do you believe happiness is a choice within each individual?
But it comes only with our Creator. That connection reestablishing its strength, because it's so easy and beautiful, and it's the most powerful thing in any realm. There's no fear. So there's no other questions that matter on this trivial thing.
I feel no fear. Like, just to make sure we're clear, we're on the same page here.
All of the other questions about interactions, there's no way to have a healthy interaction with others, in my opinion, based on my own personal experience in many different times, actually. When I wasn't able to even connect with anybody because I couldn't connect with God or myself. There you go.
I understand that. It's like, that makes a lot of sense to me. Full disclosure, like, I grew up in the Catholic Church.
If you come from a genuine place, you will be given that, and there's no need to ask that question in the future. I hope that helps.
No. The question I asked for a specific reason. Like, I haven't, like,
I don't need to know the reason. It's fine.
No, yeah, but it doesn't matter if you want to know. I'm telling you.
I don't need to know. It's fine.
What do you mean? But how could you say you don't need to know when I'm telling you something?
I don't need to know because my answer is honest and I meant it earnestly.
No, I believe that. Like,
so there's that. I don't need to know backstory.
Did I ever say I didn't believe it earnestly? Did I ever say I didn't? But did I ever say I did not?
If you have one or no.
But did I ever say I did not believe it earnestly?
No, I'm just saying I don't need to know a backstory. It's fine. I will pray for you either way.
What if the backstory has something about what I'm going to say in the future?
It doesn't matter. How about you just ask me another question?
but you're trying to tell me what matters to my future sayings. That
I
doesn't.
don't. You don't. No. Okay,
It does,
it's actually written in the
let me
text
say.
as well. So not try to predict our own
Let me
future
say it this
and
way.
stuff.
Let
So
me
you don't
say
need
it
to
this
tell
way.
me what you're gonna say
Let
in the
me say
future.
it this way. Let me say it this way
You
so
have
that it makes.
value
Oh
with
my
what you
guys,
just said.
guys. Hey, yo, please hold on.
Hold on.
A second.
I just muted both you guys for a second. You guys, if maybe slow down and go one at a time. I think Sydney, it'd be fair to let Sir Vagabond say something because you were kind of talking over him every time as well. But you guys,
I know, like exactly.
So okay, hold on, man. Okay, so I'm gonna unmute you, Sir Vagabond. Just let's try to just totally reset, like bring it, and then go ahead, bro. Go with your point, and then I'll unmute Sydney and she can respond, and we'll see if we can get it back. Go ahead.
The point that I was trying to make is that I'm trying to say, like, let's say I have a concept that I'm trying to share, but the only reason that I shared the backstory was to give some illumination or some perspective to what I'm trying to say. Now, someone else is trying to discount the backstory of what I'm trying to say, but I'm like, well, you can't discount the backstory before you listen to it and then hold it into perspective before I say what I'm going to say, because if it had something to do with it, you would understand why I prefaced it with that. But if you cut me off, you can never perceive if it was valuable or not. That's all I was trying to say.
Understood. 10-4. I will
Cool.
respond by saying I only say that it doesn't matter because I only try to speak with God with me, giving me that strength to do so. It is a timeless, backstoryless, illumination not needed. It's the same for everyone, and so it will never change that answer I had. So I apologize if you felt disrespected.
No, I don't feel any certain way.
I've been told I've been abrasive. I thought you would mute him, Gio. But either way, I didn't mean any offense by it. I'm just saying.
I took no offense.
It will be the same for you or my cousin or anybody else, male or female.
That's fine. That's
and
fine.
that's how God works. That's all. So
I promise you, no offense was taken over here. No offense was taken, but I also want to stand up for myself and say, like, hey, listen, I'm trying to tell you what I think. Like, listen, I'm not arguing with you, but I'm also trying to tell you what I think.
And I don't want to make my presentation and my words to you or the world on live stream that of anything besides that of God. So if it's going to be something off topic into the next merger to the subject change, that's fine. I will just hush up or leave the server, but I wish you the best and God bless.
No, I'm a child of God. I can talk about it, all of these perspectives. I'm a child of God as well. So there's no problem in my communication.
Okay, I will only respond by saying my name and my words like to get thrown off by outside forces, whether it's inside Discord or any other microphone that I'm able to have, because that's how the devil works in my life. I meant nothing personal by it. I'm just expecting it. Therefore, I just want to hush up and I'll just see where the conversation goes, but I'm done.
So do you find yourself typically in argumentative states, in the majority of your life?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
It bothers me when people won't let me be easy and compassionate and a big heart softy like that I am, that God made me to be. So it bothers me that I get angry in a righteous way, I would say.
Do they have any ability to affect how you exude yourself into reality?
They used to have a lot bigger weight, and you know that. So
no, I don't know that.
I don't know that. Well, the ability that they have, it kind of is like bouncing off of unbreakable glass that only comes from God around me, that I pray for every day.
That wasn't the question that I
didn't
asked
even feel like I deserved. So no, the answer is no, it doesn't have weight on me.
Okay, good. So if they have no weight on you, then you shouldn't be exuding any emotions when certain questions are asked to you.
Correct. But I also need to not be spoken over or, put in that combative state because I'm not given the same respect that's asked of me.
So you felt it was combative?
No, when there's an imbalance in fairness, of course. But it's only temporary, and it's already fleeting from my memory. It's already gone.
Where would the imbalance have come from? If you were just being honest and open and just sharing your perspective in a respectful state.
Like I just told the server owner, it's fine. He knows what I meant. It's fine.
Okay, got it.
6 minutes, and I have no clue what in the world you guys are talking about.
Hi, Jeremy. He's my favorite. Anyway.
That's another one that sounds like Jeremy.
I know.
Hold on. Hi. Am I your favorite, or is that guy your favorite?
Yeah, I mean,
no. You've always been my favorite Jew. I meant it.
there's certain archetypal tones to the human voice where there's certain overlaps. Also,
I
like
know.
in the ways that we look and all that. Yeah, there's certain patterns that multiple people, certain voices
know.
can have similar cadences. You know, depending on genetics and all the.
And it doesn't matter what accent you put on it. It's really funny, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing.
No, I mean when someone's using a voice changer, there's certain things that can be detected that show that it is, like the digital pitch of it. Whereas,
No, I agree. I think dominant people are always.
About that,
I think dominant
sure,
people are always like perceptible.
Sir
Like they can always like point out their perspective and like shred people in
Sir Vagabond, I bid you adieu, and I wish you the best. God bless.
Okay,
just so everyone knows,
I don't need the blessings. Like I'm good on my own. But whatever.
I wanted to hear what you're saying, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever.
What's the vibe, man?
Dude, honestly, bro.
You guys tripping.
Honestly, bro, she was intense, man. I'm sorry for you, Vagabond.
No, I'm fine. I promise you, I'm okay. Like,
no, the thing is, bro, like, listen, she's embarrassing me because she says she's a believer, and I'm over here embarrassed. Honestly,
no. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. For me, it's like, you know, like I've prided myself on the ability to create an environment where people can have a calm, conscious, intellectual conversation and share the space. And like everybody gets their point across. Nobody tries to dominate or scream or like dominate the fucking airtime. Like, no, like we'll all talk to each other equally. Now, some people don't like to do that, and that's fine. But I don't do that when I'm hanging out with my friends and my guys. Thus, everybody feels respected because they have a chance to chime in a little bit. You know what I mean? Like they don't feel like you're just listening to somebody preach. So it's like I've learned more in reality just doing it that way than trying to listen to somebody else trying to tell me I should do it their way when I know they don't know what the fuck they're talking about because they don't actually do this in reality.
Can I ask your guys a question? Because she was
7 times there.
She said the devil like several million times, and I was like, "What does she think that is?"
I don't know. Maybe I'm the devil. I don't know.
I cringed. I cringed, bro. I cringed.
Well, I know.
Maybe I'm the devil to her. I don't know. What am I gonna do? If that's if that was like locked into her brain frame, like what am I gonna do? Convince her I'm not the devil because I'm smart? No, I'm not gonna run away from it. Like I'm stepping straight up to it, and we'll have this conversation. And if it gets uncomfortable, it got uncomfortable for a reason. Maybe your perspective was wrong. Maybe my perspective was decent.
Well, I mean, I think of that as like unconsciousness. That's in one word.
It is what it is, brother.
What do you think it is? What does the Bible
I don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to try to like wrap my head around what it is. But the thing is, like, the ability to like create an environment where everyone feels like respective, they're not going to be talked down to, they're going to be able to share their perspective and go back and forth and have an intellectual conversation. I realize that exists few and far between nowadays. And like part of me, I blame myself. I'm like, Jerry, you're not speaking up when you see this shit happening. Like, you can't even get mad when you see it happening because you're not saying anything when it's happening. But I can perceive when it's happening, and I'm like, well, who has to say something, Jerry? Someone does. And fuck it. Okay. Let it be me. Let it be me.
Vagabond, it's been a minute, bro. It's been a minute. How you been, bro?
I'm doing all right, bro. How's everything been, man?
Good, man. Good.
Chilling out, hanging out. You know me.
Nice.
How's everything been with you, bro?
Good, man. Good. Just moved to Florida. Just pretty busy.
Nice. What part of Florida you in? I used to live in Florida. I'm back in Long Island now, but I used to live in Florida for a bit.
The west side, a little north of Tampa.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. Florida's dope, bro. I used to live in Fort Myers, Cape Coral. I used to hang out in Naples a little bit, man. I went up to St. Pete, chilling over there. Florida's the shit, bro.
Yeah, I love it, man. We got married in Fort Myers.
Nice, bro. Nice. Florida's the shit, man.
You're up in the Northeast right now?
Yeah. I'm in Long Island. I'm in Deer Park, Long Island.
Okay.
Yeah, but I grew up in New York, so it's like I'm a Brooklyn and Queens like guy. So it's like hanging out in Long Island. This is like my backyard. I had cousins in Long Island, so it's like, you know, I grew up with more like a country like farmer. Like if my parents didn't move to New York, they'd be like farmers in Haiti. You know what I mean? These are like farmer people, like very like calm and slow and like comfortable. Like they're not like They're not mean to other people. Like, they're extremely loving. Like, I don't have any problems in the world just because I just treat people like my parents treated me. And I see other people struggling, and I'm like, oh, you're a dickhead, and you think that wants to be nice to you. I'm like, okay, good luck with that perspective. Because I already know they're not going to make it. You know what I mean? I'm almost like observing it in real time, if you will. And I'm like, well, fuck, should you say something to them? I'm like, no, don't say anything. Fuck them. Let them get handed the fucking shitty life they deserve. Because they didn't learn how to be nice to others. Fuck them.
Can you guys, the Bible people, tell me what the devil is? Because do you think of it
I think
as a person, like a thing, like a man or something?
So I'll tell you what I think it is. I believe in reality or exist. So I believe in reality or existence. We choose, the way that we perceive things. We will create our internal heaven or our internal hell. Now, if we treat people amazingly, it will be a heavenly life. Because everybody will treat you as you treated them. If you treat people shittily, it would be a hellish existence. Because you treated people shittily. And you thought you were going to like snatch or steal or grab some value for free. Which is stupid. It never works that way. So once one figures out that like the better you treat others and the more that you provide value and you solve the problems of others in real time, and like you actually have the answers for the problems that they're facing in reality, that man will never starve. He could not starve. Because he's literally, everyone he bumps into, he's solving the problems of them. He didn't worry about his problems. He worried about their problems, not his own problems.
Excuse me, man. Excuse me. You didn't listen to his full question. You're not even.
Oh, I apologize. What part did I miss?
Your answer was like to a completely different question. He said, "Hey, Bible believers, what is the devil?" And then he started talking about karma and how bad.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I apologize. I apologize for going on. No, I apologize for going on a tangent.
Like,
so the reason.
Hey man,
no, I understand.
Hey man, cool your jets, okay?
Cool my jets. Why? So let me answer the question again. Like I said,
so that people can have a cordial conversation with you. That's why.
No, I understand. My jets are cooled. I'm trying to say, like, basically, the way I perceive heaven and hell, the devil and God, is basically I say to myself, we all have a bit of willpower within us. Now, that willpower within us dictates what we are creating, given our will. Now, if our will is pointed northward or positively or in a beneficial state for others, we'll produce a heaven for ourselves in reality. If our perspective on others and ourselves and reality is negative, we will produce an inward hell in our life. And there's no way to run from that, is what I'm saying to you. So I did answer the question, I just didn't elaborate on it. Does that make any sense, or do you disagree? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
It wasn't my question, but if
what are your thoughts on what I just said? What were your thoughts?
I'm not trying to steal it away from the guy who asked the question, man. But
no, that's okay. That's okay. It's an open server. We can all speak to each other. It's an open server. We can all speak to each other. What are your thoughts?
I don't think he answered the question either in the first place.
Got it.
Yeah, I to be honest, I'd like North to chirp up because he seems to know what he's talking about with the Bible. I'd like to get his answer, but just for the record, I love Sir Bagavon's answer. That's brilliant. So thank you for that.
Thank you, brother. I'm trying to just, communicate authentically, if you will.
Depending on if you're reading Greek or Hebrew, where you're getting this word from, it could mean accuser. Devil could be in plural, devils or false gods, demonic entities. But basically, it's the accuser, the opposition, the enemy. So there are some different words to look into when you're looking in Hebrew or Greek, and I would advise that. Just look at those words. One of those words would be a shaggy goat, like a goat man. So there's different definitions and different words, but people apply devil to those same words, though they be different words. So Yeah, just do your research into the languages in which that word was used and how we use it today.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
To add to that, I don't think that we know his actual name. He just has many titles. We don't know like a proper name for him. But yeah, like Mastema, which roughly translates to the worthless one. And you got Baal Zebub, Lord of the Flies. You have some say it's Gadriel, but I don't believe it is. So he has many names, many titles, but
God removed his name, for a reason.
Yeah, nobody knows his name, but I would say that he is a real entity with a consciousness and a mind. He's not just figuratively like darkness or like our negative selves. Like no, like he's a real entity. His Messiah's arch nemesis.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I'm super interested to get your guys' take on it, but yeah, I mean, just like I said before, I think of it as like people, right? I think of it as, if you think of unconsciousness or like old emotion. I've talked about that quite a lot, so I'll not go into it, but I'm happy to if you'd like me to. But the only way to deal with that old emotion is to make it conscious, to go into it. That's the only way it can be dealt with. And so I can easily see, because the way it sort of people get puppeted by the past and probably various other things, and I could definitely see why people would instantly go, "Oh, this is demonic," from that perspective, viewed through that prism.
I agree. I agree with the gentleman that just mentioned that, because like, remember, any prism that our mind was handed previously, we almost hold that as a part of our reality, and we become like comfortable internally with it. So when we start to like discover new truths, it's almost hard to let go of those perspectives and those prisms that we were looking through previously, because it forms some aspect of our foundation of confidence and comfortability. But it's like, I think the letting go of those perspectives is what makes you like feel a little better. Like, you have a little more confidence in your mind and your perspective and your thinking and what you're doing and why you're doing it. Because like, you're waking up a little bit. Like, I hate the fucking woke term that's being, spread all over the place, to mean something. But I'm like, oh, people actually do need to wake up. Like, now that I know what I know, I'm like, fuck. I was like, there is some waking up that's need to be done, but the woke term has almost been bastardized. Where almost nobody wants to be woke when everyone needs an awakening. So it's like it's a fuck situation if we can all be honest with each other for a little bit.
That term was intentionally hijacked.
I agree.
The term woke, awake belonged to the conspiracy community for decades before it got hijacked recently.
Well, what do you think about the hijacking of it? Like, what do you think that does?
Oh, it was very successful, and it there aren't a lot of words that are synonymous with the meaning that
with woke. Woke,
when we
awake,
used to say that person is awake, awoke. I mean, that was one of the highest compliments you could give someone.
Yeah, because they're paying attention. So it's like they almost like started to shit on people that pay attention. So they're almost like destining people towards a life of stupidity. Impulsiveness is going to start to rule soon. And it's like impulsivity is like, every guy is going to turn into a super thug and every girl is going to turn into a thought. It's like, that's the reality we have coming. If we can be honest for a second, like, let's be honest. It's just going to get more and more aggressive. It's going to get more and more seedy. That's it. That's the only way it goes.
Well, have you ever heard of like the Yuga cycle, like the Kali Yuga? And I don't know the other.
No, I don't know. I don't know what that. I don't know what that is. They said the Kali Yuga cycle.
Kali Yuga is like 1/3 of the cycle. It's just a cycle of time periods that last like a few thousand years each. It's part of like Hindu belief or whatever.
Yeah. I came across that. So basically, like, I came across a couple of people that talked about like the movement of like, the sun and the moon and the stars and all that stuff. And they talked about how there's like intergenerational period. So basically, it said the Nazi sign, the swastika was basically a reflection of the way that the sun actually moves. And within, let's say I'm just guessing here. Let's say like the shift from one arm of the swastika was like 3,000 years or 5,000 years, like in an amount of time that we can't perceive. And then it shifts so that there is a frozen state where we're standing now, but a sunny, prosperous state as it moves. It would lead me to believe that the reason that the gypsies keep moving with the sun is, number one, they observe the stars that are in the sky, and they observe the way that the sun actually moves. Not the way that we were told it moves, but it would have to be something that was communicated generation by generation. That would make me believe like that's why there's such a persistent poisoning of people. So like if you look at like the conflicts that happen in Europe, predominantly like Paris and Belgium, what you would observe is like the people protest a number of the food additives. And if you look at the food additives that they actually are protesting, what you would observe is that a number of these are endocrine disruptors. That's why they're fighting so vehemently against them. And over here, as Americans, we don't study the food additives as closely as the Parisians do. So the reason that they shut down the entire city is because they know this is going to affect our hormonal balance. Now, here in the States, most people don't pay attention to it, and the hormonal balance has been affected. Hence the transgender LGBTQIA plus movement. Now, I already know most people don't want to hear this from me, but it is the reality. The reason that they objected to it over there is because they already knew what this would create. But over here, we were so distracted with sports and like food and porn, and the US is a myriad of distractions piled on top of each other. Now most people can't pull themselves back from being distracted anymore. The church is trying to do their best, but let's be honest, with the advent of the internet and smartphones, like the church is struggling like to keep up. There's just way more information that they ever perceive they would have to contend with. And I personally don't think they're doing a very good job contending with it.
So would it be fair to say then you're a lot like me with the Bible? You think it's just steeped in metaphor and sort of almost
No, I think, to be honest, it's like, because remember, like the characters that were written into language were created by men. So my assumption is that, somebody wrote this in their benefit, and it's not this, 'cause the only way that it could last this long is the ratios had to be correct. So imagine I produced a book that was 97% flawlessly accurate and 3% to my benefit. Now I can make that 3% really to my benefit, but it's 97% accurate. So any like, lay person that would try to argue against it would get shredded. Because remember, the people would have received so much benefit from the book, they would die for it. But the 3% benefit is for me. But the people that are absorbing the 97%, they're not even worried about the 3%. They're so happy for the 97% they got. When the 3% is what built all of these churches, because they slept on the 3% that they got. They weren't willing to do all of their homework to figure out, like, hey, what am I losing here by just believing in this and not like trusting my instincts anymore?
It's kind of interesting to think that a man or woman could become conscious to a level where they'd read it in a totally different way. They'd read the same words, but it would point to a different thing completely.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I think that's the intention of the words. Because remember, it's an artistic creation. Because writing is an artistic act, right? So it's I believe art is like the disconnect between your conscious mind and your spirit. Because, like, for example, when music is created, there's really no intention for music. It's really just to be danced to or enjoyed in the moment. There's nothing about the future, nothing about the past. It's right now where we're standing, we're enjoying music. So I think, like, somebody that's a good writer will understand when somebody else reads this and they perceive it, and the feeling that they get within themselves is going to be so powerful, it will transcend wherever they are in life, whatever they're going through. Like, this is going to be something that affects them. Now, I don't disagree with the affectation. I think the affectation is good. Because for the most part, religion has like pulled people out of like the dark ages, and to the point where like they're just complete savages. They want to cut everybody's throat and kill everything for their own survival. And like the more that like religion teaches us to just be more like, understanding and like, envisioning of the future. Like, because remember, like, they instill the concept of heaven and hell in your mind that did not exist there before. So you almost like cast your vision into the future a little bit, and you can perceive what you're doing in the moment, whether it's good or bad. And I think it's like, to some extent, like that perspective like serves us beneficially into the future.
Can we think about this for just a second? Because many times I've heard people say that, the leaders will use this book to their benefit, to indoctrinate.
I used to think that.
Let me finish.
Sorry.
Point's going to go on just for a little bit. Okay. So I've heard this in the past many times, that the leaders would use this book, whether they be politicians, whether they be pastors or priests or preachers, in churches. Now, this book speaks against those pastors, preachers, teachers, prophets, leaders of the world. It speaks against them. So I don't see how that would be a benefit, especially, and I know there could be some argument there, but I don't see how it could be a benefit for them, the teachers, the preachers, the pastors, and the leaders of the world, when it speaks directly against them, and as to what they do and the judgment that's coming upon them. And so I would say that there's many things to consider, rather than just thinking that this is someone wrote this book to use it to their benefit, right? Because you have to typically
so if you would allow me to speak to what I think about that topic, I don't, I'm not trying to push back too aggressively. I'm just trying to say what I think. I would say basically like there's a breaking point. If you think about two men that are hanging outside together, in reality, like there's always a breaking point where fights happen and like things go south and like everything goes to shit. There's a breaking point within all men. Now, because I've observed that breaking point a million, not a million, I'm exaggerating, 300 times or so, I've seen where shit goes south. And it's always where someone feels like they're not being heard for their perspective. Now, whether I agree or disagree is irrelevant. But what I would say is like when you're trying to push back to what the Bible is saying relative to teachers and politicians and leaders of society, what they're saying and whether or not it's accurate or inaccurate, what I would say is that the perspective serves someone. Now, I wouldn't say it's a good or a bad perspective. What I would say is that the perspective has to be individually based. So, for example, what we see in society now is like the church teaches us forgiveness and acceptance and like tolerance and like trying to like just understand where people are at and understand like people are gonna go through sins and they're gonna like get over it. They're gonna make their way up. They're gonna make their way down. They're gonna go. It's gonna be like a roller coaster to some extent. And we have to try to just like stabilize them on the roller coaster. And I believe that. And I'm good at stabilizing people when they're on the roller coaster. And what I would say is like the majority of people that are on the roller coaster, The reason that they're on the roller coaster is because some part of their life they did not exude themselves authentically in the moment as they wanted to, or they perceived themselves, and they kept that mentality, that negative mentality, with them, and it festered. Because if you stood up for yourself all the time and you like said what you thought and you were honest and giving to other people, like, you would never feel negative in life. Like, where would it have come from? It had to come from some conflict that you could not handle, and it festered. That's why you were angry. You could not fight your way through it.
When you say church, what are you referring to specifically, right?
This is all this is all comical. Yeah. God bless you all.
Say again? You said it's comical? What is comical about it? We're just having a conversation.
I think the people that, the priests and popes and shit, they know they're pieces of shit. So they don't give a shit.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, listen, I'm not, like, for me, I understood a long time the cavalry ain't coming. You know what I mean? I understood a long time ago the cavalry ain't coming. Like, I don't know if that's because I'm black and like I just like have really big ambitions or whatever I've done in this world, but I'm like, I realized a long time ago the cavalry ain't coming. So
how do you?
So what I did is like I worried more about the one-to-one human interactions I was having, and I realized once I just focus on the one-to-one human interactions I'm having, if I just nail those,
let's have that, man. Let's have an interaction. Let's have a dialogue, right?
Let's have a dialogue, bro. Let's talk about it.
When you say church, the church is teaching. When you say the church is teaching us, specifically, who are you speaking of? What church? Where is it at?
No, so I basically, when I use the word church, I'm taking the composite of like, Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, like like I'm just taking in terms of like the word that's being
so you think all of those
are the same? So no, they're not the same. No,
I didn't say the same. I didn't say they were all the same.
Okay.
I said, do you think all of those are teaching us good morals to go by? You think the Catholic Church is teaching good moral, right?
So if I had to compare, someone that goes to no church versus someone that goes to a church, I typically like the people that go to a church more than people that I meet that go to no church. If that makes any sense. Now, I don't have to agree with everything that church teaches, but I know they go to a church and they have some belief system. They believe something as opposed to believing nothing.
How do you define, are you defining church by your own definitions? Because you're not defining it as it was defined in the beginning, are you? The church, right?
What do you mean by as it was defined in the beginning? The concept of church or the word church?
Yes.
Well, yeah. So I'm thinking of church of any body that's teaching a discipline that's within a, forethought book that they had provided to the congregation.
Okay, so now if I were to tell you that if you were to try to lump in Catholicism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and all of the other isms, if you tried to lump those in with this other group called, followers or believers or Christians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or what they call themselves the church, right? Some of them. So if they call themselves the church and they deny to your face that any of those are the church or could be defined as such because they're totally contrary to what the church is supposed to do, what would you say to them first? Would you say that they were like devils, or would you say that they were?
I wouldn't say that they're devils, because I would basically say, like, for myself, I take onus upon myself, right? So for me, it's like I'm not willing to read all of the texts of all of the religions, right? Because I was raised in a formative fashion. Like, my parents are, I'm Haitian. I was born in Haiti. My parents are Haitian. And like, my parents took the French perspective. There's a concept called laissez-faire. And laissez-faire means let one do what it does. You know what I mean? So basically, my parents, very strict disciplines, very like, sturdy walls on the extremities. Like I would get whipped if I pass
I
one of
get
the
it. So
walls.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
So
but it's like within
you
everything I
tickle
want to
the
study
ears,
or how I
right?
want to talk to people, that's all on me. You know what I mean? I'm
So
allowed to go outside and be myself and like just talk to people. Because my parents don't fucking control how I interact when I go outside. Now, I've observed that when I go outside with an authentic perspective and I speak to people with love and respect, I get that in return. Now, I don't know why other people can't perceive this, but I know when I do it, that's what I get back. And I said to myself, I was like, well, Jerry, isn't this a gift from God that I caught it early enough so that life never stresses me? So that life never stresses me. And I've gotten so many benefits as a result of doing that. When I see people aren't doing it, I say to myself, oh, well, what do they think is going on here? Do they think they can shit on the other people that are in front of them and still get a positive result?
so do
And I
you
already
think?
know it's
So
a
do you
losing
think you're
strategy.
teaching? Yeah. Could I just? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you're teaching these two contrary systems, or do you
I'm not
think
teaching
they're?
anything. I'm not teaching anything. Remember, I'm not a
Bro,
teacher. I'm
I'm
just
not
an
even.
observer.
Okay, man. I don't think I can have a conversation with you, bro.
No, 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 no. I apologize for cutting you off. I
You
was just trying to say
talk
I'm
for
just an
like
observer. I'm
you
not a
talk
teacher.
forever, man. You talk forever, and I can't even kind of ask a couple of
I
questions.
understand. I have a lot of opinions.
Yeah, I get
Not
that.
about having a lot of opinions, man. How many people need to point out the same issue? Until you cool your jets earlier, you maybe should take that a little more seriously.
Well, it's interesting that you
So
mentioned
you're
that.
telling me I should. So you're telling me I should speak less. Is what you're
No,
saying?
no. Well, I think you fine, dude. You just clip in people. That's all. You got to give
Got it.
people room. That's all. That's all North's saying. But it's interesting. He said that laissez-faire. It does what it do, sort of thing. That was very much part of Ayn Rand's philosophy. So,
Oh,
and I noticed.
I'm big on Ayn Rand.
Oh, that's why I
Huge,
was going to ask you. Yeah.
huge. Like I live my life by that philosophy, and like everything's worked out flawless for me, holding that philosophy. And the thing is, like, I'm not even willing to bend for other people anymore. I'm almost like, fuck them. Let them catch up when they catch up.
Right. That makes
You
sense.
know what I
That makes a
mean?
lot of
Fuck
sense
it.
now. Yeah.
Let them catch up when they catch up. And if they can't, fuck them. They're not meant to.
Yeah,
Fuck
you can
them.
see why the the opposing ideas, say from Kant or something like that, is more the popular view, though, can't you? Because we instinctively or intrinsically we want to help other people. It's like our natural reaction.
I haven't studied Kant. You said from
Well,
Kant?
let's just say it's the opposing
No,
view
but
to
did you say
Ayn Rand.
did you mention Kant?
Yes, that's because
Okay, yeah.
she famously hated this idea of sort of charity, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm not
Seems to
gonna
be
lie,
going
like,
against
like
instinct.
the sad part of like these interactions that I have and like what breaks my heart is that, I grew up in like the projects of New York City. Like my friends are selling crack. You know what I mean? Like I'm at the bottom. And I'm smart enough to know, given my parents' discipline, I'm at the bottom. But I have to do something about it. So that means I have to start being more honest with people. And the thing is, when I choose my tone that's a little more cutting, a little more direct, I can see the emotions of other people bubble up as I do it. And I say to myself, it's like, well, either I'm going to fucking be honest and start shredding shit and I'll be heard, or I'm worried about their emotions before I say what I think. Now, at some point, I'm going to get tired of giving a fuck. And I already know I'm there. I don't give a fuck what other people think anymore. Now, that's not to be disrespectful to other people. It's to try to say, like, I've got a perspective as well. And I actually give a fuck about other people. Like, maybe my perspective is decent.
I hope you don't think that's what's going on right now.
I don't know. Listen, it's not my first rodeo, bro. I've been here before.
Do you guys do activism?
No, I don't do any activism. I don't believe in it.
You don't
Everybody has to solve their
believe
own
in
problems.
flat Earth activism? I mean,
No,
the
I
root
don't.
word
I
active
believe,
means like being like active, like going
no,
out,
I believe in the
N-word.
Socratic. I believe in the Socratic method. I believe in asking like pointed, diligent questions. But if someone can't catch it, they can't catch it because they're not there at that moment to catch it. What are you going
They
to do?
need to be
Force
able to
them?
answer it, right?
They have to be able to answer the
answer it,
question.
bro.
You know what I mean? Like if they can't answer the question, they're not there yet. Like I'm not going to shit on myself for knowing what they don't know because I was able to answer the question faster than them. I'm not going to look down on myself because I'm smarter than them. No way. Fuck them. Let them catch up when the fuck they catch up.
Hey, bro, let me just say a little something here. So, there are times to let people, do what they're going to do. I mean, I could even say that, even in my own faith, there's times to let the filthy be filthy and let the righteous be righteous, right? So there's times for that, and you work with each individual according to their way. So I would say that you don't treat everyone the same and broad brush everyone and just say screw them, the heck with them. I'll let them catch up when they can catch up, because we are, in fact, our brother's keeper. Now we are. Let me finish. So you went on a diatribe of a monologue for about 30 minutes at a time, bro. I haven't even gotten 35 seconds in, bro. So I have to kind of finish and
Apologies.
give thoughts, and then maybe we can have a discussion.
No, you're good.
If you want to question something I just said, please question it, but please don't monologue for like 2 minutes. Ask me a question about what I just said, or refute it, right?
No, I agree with everything you said. I think at the end of the day,
great.
it's like, yeah,
Why are you interjecting? If you agree with everything I said, just say you agree and let me continue my point.
Oh, I thought you were done. I thought you made a point there. You didn't make a point?
Never mind, bro. Never mind.
Okay, got it.
I'll just let you catch up when you can catch up, because clearly you're not one to be kind of led
here.
gently.
I'm right here, bro.
You're not one to be led. You're not one to be led gently, though. You're one who's fighting.
So you believe So you believe you're here to lead me?
No, I'm not. I'm not here to lead you. I'm not here to lead you anyway.
Let's get that clear.
I'm just here to let it be well understood.
I'm not here to be led. Let's get that out there. Let's get that out the way real quick. But let's get that out. Let's get that out the way real quick, though. I'm not here to be led, bro.
So you agreed with what I said.
I'm not looking for leadership from you. I promise you. Let's get that clear, bro. I'm not looking for leadership from you, my guy.
Guys, we gotta chill. We gotta chill, guys. Stop.
Let's get that shit clear real quick. I'm not looking for leadership from you, my guy.
Yo,
I promise you.
Be quiet for a second. Ravagan, be quiet.
Let's get that in the fucking air real quick. I'm looking for leadership from you, my guy. I put NYC in my title on purpose.
He's just a child. You know what it is.
I'm talking to like 50 nationalities. I speak 4 languages, bro. I'm out here.
All right, I just
through life. You can barely speak English, my guy. Like, let's slow down real quick. Country,
you're a little child, man. Where you live in New York?
Slow down.
Yo, I'm trying. Do you hear me?
Slow down, bro.
Let's stop the repeating, though.
Country motherfucker talking to me like I gotta listen to him.
I'll pull up.
Yo, I've been to Marcy.
Get in line, bro. Get in line, bro.
Where'd you grow up, son?
Get in line, bro. I don't gotta listen to you.
30 minutes to get to New York when I went about every weekend. Where you grow up?
But you don't live here, bro.
Can you hear me,
man?
You
visited.
No, but I got family there,
You visited. I live here.
Can you hear me? Hello? You hear me talking, bro? Can I get a yes or a no on my mic check?
Yeah, I hear you, bro. Apologies, man. I'm sorry. I'll mute now.
Mic check.
I hear you, see.
All right. I was trying to talk before. I don't think you guys were hearing me.
We heard
No,
you.
all I could hear was his nasally voice, man, talking about
Okay.
how he grew up in the project, right?
I muted him because he was getting out of hand. So let me just say this. Hey, Vagabond, I don't know where you think you're at, bro. But here we talk one at a time. We don't interrupt. So I'm going to unmute you. But please don't interrupt. Go one at a time. You're good, bro. Go on.
Yeah, I would just say, man, I mean, he agreed with what I said, but he wanted to, interrupt as I was speaking. He really had nothing to refute. And the whole time I've been hearing this guy speak.
Did you make a point? Did you make a point to refute?
Okay, let's not do this, North or Vagabond.
Did you make a point to refute?
Oh,
Yo,
God.
I'm trying to do it freshly. Let's do it freshly.
Talk about something
But
else.
he made a claim. Let me point it out to you. He made a claim. He made a claim that I did not.
Can you please stop talking?
My friend, let's do this properly. Let's do this properly. He made a claim that I did not refute. Look how he's talking over me.
Hey, hold on. I just muted him again. Hold on.
You dare start interrupting, buddy.
Hold on.
Please give me a second. Point it out when it exists.
Vagabond, I'm going to tell you this one more time, bro.
Yes.
You don't run the show here. You're a guest here.
I'm not trying to run the show.
You've been running your mouth off. You've been interrupting everybody. I'm going to tell you one last time. If I unmute you and you continue this behavior, I'm going to time you out. Maybe for the whole night. You understand?
I understand. I apologize.
You do not run the show. You do not say what goes on. We talk one at a time with respect. I'm going to unmute you one more time.
I like this guy.
Okay, so Vagabond, go ahead, ask your question, and he will answer you.
Thank you, brother. I apologize for being boisterous. I was basically trying to point out, like, the gentleman had made a statement that he had said something that I had not refuted. And I was asking the gentleman, what point did you say that I did not refute? Where was our conflict point?
This was the
conflict. Fair enough. Let him answer now. And then you go back one at a time like men.
Yeah, I got it.
This is what actually happened. I was making a point, and I was speaking about those, let them do what they're going to do, or let the filthy be filthy and the righteous be righteous. And I went through my whole little spill about that, and I was trying to continue with it. But you interrupted, and I asked you, is there something you want to refute or ask me a question about that I said, or do you agree with everything I said? And you said you agreed with everything I said. So I said there was no reason for you to interrupt me as I was finishing up the point, which would only took me about a quarter of the time it takes you every time you speak. So the conflict was you interrupting and not refuting anything I said, just interrupting to interrupt and to troll and to mock, as it seems you've been doing here for the little bit of time I've been in here. It's been easily recognizable, right?
Okay, I understand the conflict. At the moment that I interjected, you asked me, do I have anything that I disagree with? And then I said, no, I agree with everything you said. Now, after I said, I agree with everything you said, well, why are you interrupting? And I was like, you just asked the question. So I'm like, well, what do you mean? What? You just asked the question. I answered the question. And then you felt some type of way because you felt like I was taking too much time previously. And I'm like, no, I answered the question you asked. Not I asked, you asked it. And I answered it. And then you got pissy. And I'm like, whoa, bro. You just asked and I answered. And then you got pissy because you thought I was taking more time previously. And because I was talking to my friends on the server that I hang out with regularly. Now, I don't take too much time on the server. I don't come here and start barking orders all day, bro. I come from time to time and chill out. But like, if you're talking to me like I'm someone that hasn't been here, I'm like, no, I've been here, bro. I've been
Bro,
here.
we hear you. We hear you. You guys got off to a bad start. Maybe we can start afresh. What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
I'm good. I'm good, brother. Yeah, bro, I
Again, he
agree. Yo,
said, she
I
said,
would
let's
want
just go
nothing
from
more.
here.
Nothing more. I
Cool.
apologize in advance, brother. I apologize for being boisterous.
Okay, so guys, have a convo if you want. The floor is yours.
No. I think we're good, bro. Like, he had a point to make. I was just trying to say, like, why I felt some type of way. But I don't feel any type of way. I'm not harboring anything. Like, I'm good.
So my claim
Okay,
wasn't
cool.
that you didn't refute my claim. That wasn't even what I said, and that wasn't even the point. The point was the interruption, and then you trying to answer a two-part question in the midst of me speaking. And that's what is upsetting to someone who sits by and lets you speak nonsense for 5 minutes without making any claim or any point whatsoever. And, so there you go, man. Yeah, I think we're done.
It was a big nothing burger.
Give us something, Jace.
I got what you need, bro.
Got that frog, man?
I bet you do. You work in a lab.
I got a question about light. SE, you might be able to help me out, man. I'm gonna post a picture here in Livestream 1, and so my question about it is, shouldn't the colors be reversed when it comes to the sunset? Like, why should blue be able to make it further while red is cut off early? Don't higher frequencies travel less distance and lower frequencies travel further distance through a medium before they disperse? Like, shouldn't the sunset be bluer the closer to the sun, as like midday when you look up what surrounds the sun, blue sky? Shouldn't the edges be red and by the way, like, the sun just set, you know what I mean? Like, why would it be red closest to the sun and blue further away? That seems opposite to me. Opposite of logic.
Because the blue is happening, they're happening by two different effects, right? You're seeing the blue from the Rayleigh scattering that's happening like super high up in the atmosphere, where the spacing between the atoms is equivalent to the wavelength that makes them resonate, whereas the red is because of refraction.
One more time, what's the cause of the blue? Because I mean, I could look straight up. I mean, I didn't do that because I was driving. But I could look straight up and see a blue sky.
Yes. It's from a type of scattering that's happening.
Can you explain in more detail? I mean, but both the blue and the red are both scattering of light frequencies, right?
The red is from refraction, whereas the blue is from Rayleigh scattering.
So instead of just saying refraction, like, could you explain that to me? Where you're getting the red from?
Yeah. So the sun is, I guess,
A white
straight
light
ahead
source.
of you in that image, and
Yeah.
the higher or the larger wavelengths, lower frequencies are refracted, so that they make it to you, so that's what you see. Whereas the blue light is being just Rayleigh scattered from all over the place.
Okay. I think I understand what you're trying to say. Tell me. that the red light is literally like reaching me like unharmed, while the blue is just almost like some sort of a more of an effect of coloring rather than any sort of direct light.
Yeah, the sun is like right in front of you, right? So the red light is refracted. The angle, the incident angle versus the outgoing angle it's smaller for the redder the wavelength, right? Whereas the higher the frequency or the lower the wavelength, the more energy in the light, the sharper the angle that it's refracted. So it's like the red light is just coming in almost straight to you because it's being refracted at such less of an angle than the rest of the light. But the blue light is coming to you from an entirely different effect, though. Which
I
is
appreciate
why
I appreciate your response, man. I'm glad you elaborated. I think I understand your viewpoint.
yeah, which is why the blue light, it's like right, it's above you, it's in front of you, it's to the side of you. It's because it's a different effect that's happening there.
So I have a picture I can post if I can find it pretty soon. But it is like the strongest rainbow of a sunset. Like above me is blue, and then it goes through like hard, like very distinct transitions from one side of the rainbow to the other. Would your opinion change if it was like super like this one's very like blue then red, like one versus the other. But if this was like violet, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, like in sort of like same size increments of sky, would your answer change? Would that be a different situation? I mean, it was still a sunset. I'd have to find it for you. But does that sound strange based on your answer?
I mean, I'd have to see exactly what you're talking about because
Okay, I'll be back in like 4 minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes then.
yeah, because there's some factors involved too. It depends on like the angle that the light is coming in, etc.
So yeah, obviously, apologies in advance for like, getting a little too boisterous earlier. I had a couple of drinks, smoked some weed, so I apologize in advance. But how's everybody doing today?
Doing good. Nothing personal, bro.
No, I
You
didn't
sound
take it
like a
personal,
cool
bro.
dude, you know? Yeah.
I didn't take it personal. No, not like that, bro.
Get excited.
Sometimes we gotta we gotta mod like that because let's face it, you guys were getting out of hand. Like, come on.
No, I understand completely, bro. Like, and I don't typically get in in that way. But it's like, I think, let's be honest. There's so much of life. There's our digital life and our real life, right? So it's like I can be extremely nice in my real life, but on my digital life, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm gonna say what I think here, bro. Like, so it's like I can't, it's almost hard to balance the two, when you feel like you're actually a diligent human being that studies the topics, that are at hand.
What do you think
I
about
was
that,
listening you
Jace?
talk before.
Say again?
So what do you
I
think
was
about?
just
I
saying,
found the photograph. What do you think about it, Jace? That's at a sunset as well, and you can see there's like 5 different colors there.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to, make any exact determination because there's like a bunch of trees blocking everything.
It adds
But,
to the character of the photo.
yeah. Yeah, like I said, there's a few factors that are involved, like the angle of the incident light, and then the wavelength or the frequency, the momentum energy of the light is gonna change the outgoing angle when it's refracted. So you're gonna get a splitting.
But you
of
see the blue
colors.
on top, and you see the yellow and the orange and the red and the purple leading up to it, and it's like, are each of those due to a different effect, or just the same two that you were saying, or is it all just the same effect and it isn't what you said about one of them is scattering and one of them is refraction? To me, this seems like it's the same effect just to different degrees. You know what I mean? Like how a rainbow would normally work. Same effect, just different degrees of that effect.
Well,
Like,
some of the blue light, depending on the angle that the sun is at or the incident light is at, some of the blue light can be refracted as well. But like the blue light you see, like when the sun is kind of in front of you there, but if you were to look up, you're still going to see the sky is blue. You still see light. That light is from Rayleigh scattering.
all right, I hear you, man. I hear you. I'm glad to get your response on it. Appreciate it.
No problem.
I feel like I should ask my new question to Globus because I love it. I think it's hilarious. I asked Bacon earlier, Jay, so I can ask you now if you want. But it's so let's pretend that you're digging through the earth and you're going to come out the other side. You start at the north and you're going to come out to the south, right? You're digging through the earth. You will not get bogged down with all the. It's just a thought experiment, so we're not going to talk about pressures and temperatures or anything like that. When you reach the south, what end are you going to come out? What's going to come out? Your legs or your head?
Depends on which part whatever you go in with first is what
Yeah.
will come
So
out.
obviously you're going to be digging down, so you're going in feet first.
Yeah, then your feet would come out.
Yeah, that was Bacon's answer too. Can you imagine people around the hole who were waiting for you because they're anticipating you coming out and they're all stood upright and they see you coming out doing a handstand?
Yeah.
You don't think that's silly?
Well, like you said, it's a thought experiment of going through the entire Earth. I mean, it's you can get a basketball and a stick figure and poke a hole in the basketball, put them through, and have them come out the other side. And you'll see that if you put him through feet first, he comes out the other side feet first. So it's not really that silly. It's just geometry.
I mean, it kind of is. I think it really makes your model look silly. It makes the globe look a bit silly. I don't know. But look, I'm that kind of person. I hold my hands up and say maybe it makes me look silly because I'm a simple guy. But
hey guys, I have a question. Sorry to interrupt. I
yeah,
just
go for it.
noticed when I checked my profile, I lost like my silver, my gold, and my gold plus status. How did that
Oh,
happen?
this is not 24/7, dude. This is Earth Awakenings.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought I was at 24/7. My apologies. I apologize. I thought I was at 24/7. Yeah.
Easy though.
Oh, so I apologize in advance. That's why I was like, why is everybody being so mean to me over here? I was like, they know me over there. Now it makes sense. I apologize in advance.
Yeah, you should have
I
known
was like,
because it's a little bit more laid back. It's a little
yeah, a little more laid back. I was like, yo,
a little
why are
bit
they
more loose over here.
I was like, yo, why are they tearing into me?
Well, it's usually a little bit more laid back. Let's put it that way.
Oh no, listen, I love it. My apologies in advance. I didn't notice I was in a different server. I thought I was at 24/7. I was like, yo, why are they shitting on me here? I was like, what's going on?
If you'd have been at 24/7, you'd have had 2 or 3 mods on your back.
Oh yeah. No. If anything, at 24/7, I'd have no mods on my back.
No, I mean, never mind.
Has 24/7 been active lately?
No, it's been slowing down. I've been wondering about that. I'm not a moderator there or anything. I'm just like an infrequent visitor. You know what I mean? I just pop in from time to time. But I see
And
that
are the
the
regulars
server's
still
slowing
up?
down or something. Say again?
The regulars, like the mods, like
Well, remember, I don't know. I'm
CB.
just an outside observer, right? I'm just an outside observer, but I see that server slowing down. Like it used to have a little more traction, but I feel like I hear more like beneficial conversations here than I hear over there. But that's just an outside observer, if that makes any sense.
There's another server called Politics or something like that. Where
I used to be a member of that server. I'm no longer a part, but I used to
What
be.
is this?
It's called Politics.
Yeah, it's called Politics. It's very busy, very lot of traffic through there. So a lot of people. I mean, they've not left 24/7 or anything. They've got a 24/7 part of that server, is what I meant.
Yeah. This is
Flat
true.
Earth part 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay, and is that where some guys hang out or no?
Well, I've just had a look over there, and there's like 30 people in there. Maybe I don't know. I'll just have another look. Hang on. Yeah, there must be at least 30 in there. And QE's in there, so I imagine he's screaming at somebody.
Wait. Okay. Right.
Yeah, hey Jace, can I bother you?
It's called Politics?
It's called Politics. Yeah. Jace, could I bother you to send me a link to the Politics server? I feel like I must have deleted it. Jace, did you hear me there or no?
I don't have a link for that. Maybe I think you're confusing me with someone else.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Apologies. So whoever was talking about the Politics server, like I used to be a member there, but I feel like I must have deleted it. Maybe I was getting, broiled in too many like heated arguments on that server, and I had to dip. But I'll pop back over, see what's going on.
You just, oh my god, don't burp on your mic, dude.
Sorry.
Come on.
Dude, I'm way away from my mic, dude.
No, he did that on purpose. Don't lie.
Dude, no, I'm away from my mic.
Bro, don't lie to us, bro. Come on. Listen.
I'm nowhere near it. I'm at like,
bro.
I'm like
We can all calculate the reverber. We can all calculate the reverberation, bro.
Okay, I gotta turn on my mic. My mic wasn't working, and then I tried fucking around with my mic sensitivity, and now it's picking up my burps. Oh, sweet! I got the invite. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, you'll fit right in over there. So.
Oh yeah, no. Like I said, I've been over there. I've been over there before. But it's like I think like when you take the flat Earth into account and like you try to have political debates, it's like it becomes a moot point, right? Because if you factor in the flat Earth and the knowing of this thing, like you have a different perspective on politics. So now it's like I have to almost lie to myself to have an honest conversation over there, which doesn't work for me,
Yeah, just don't lie to yourself, then you won't have
I
that
just
problem. Oh, I see
exactly.
Jedi is in there. Yeah.
Jedi. Oh, Jedi's over there.
Gemsy.
I
Yep.
love me some Jedi.
Flatsy.
I love me some
Yeah.
Jedi.
Okay. Heck yeah. I didn't know this is their new hangout. Oh yeah, everyone's there.
I can't believe they left you out, Dora. What's happening? You need to
I
go
didn't-
and
I didn't
ask.
know. I've been away for a little bit, so like I haven't like every time I check up on the Flat Earth Discord server, I would see like not many people, and I'm like, what the fuck? And now I went in here and shit. I didn't know like where did everyone go? Why wouldn't they sit in the 24/7 Discord though? That one's like designed for the Flat Earth entirely. Unless they're trying to pick up the people from politics and
Yeah, exactly.
get them over. So yeah,
a lot of traffic was.
I think that's
I
understandable then, because you want the message to be heard.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not a moderator myself, but I think like, the moderators that exist kind of create an environment on every server, all of the servers that exist, right? So it's like either that, environment that they're creating is inviting and welcoming, or it's controversial and like, not the opposite of welcoming, like, pushing people away. Now, if it's welcoming and like, people have good conversations, they'll come back. If they don't, then they won't. You know what I mean? Like, I try to see it from like the most simplistic perspective. And, and like I've observed like what I thought actually I saw happen on the server, and I'm not gonna lie, like I know Geo from 24/7, and like Geo has always been like extremely like courteous and like outgoing and like super calm, relaxing person. Like he's just having good conversations. He tries to share more of like a spiritual perspective on what he sees. Like when I digested that, I was like, oh, Geo's dope as fuck, So it's like that's why like when I followed him to this server, I was like, I expected nothing less because that's all I saw him exude over there. So that's what brought me here.
So what's your thing, Vagabond? What brought you into this? What sparked your interest in this?
Into the flat Earth?
Yeah, if you want to call it that, yeah.
Oh yeah, so obviously the server's Earth Awakenings. I keep thinking, flat Earth. To be honest, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, my father had come down with cancer. So I worked in British financial publishing for 10 or 11 years or so, and like I used to like do well, make a decent amount of money, and like travel pretty extensively. And then when I started studying like the biochemistry was behind my father's cancer, like I had discovered some things that didn't make sense. And then when I started like going down that rabbit hole of just studying biochemistry and cancer, I came across the flat earth. And I was like, this is like an extreme low point for me. Cause I'm trying to, help him and try to, balance everything that's going on in my own life. And when I came across the flat earth, I was like, well, Jerry, let's be honest, your father taught you to be extremely diligent as a man and do your homework and figure out the right answer. And when I came across this information, I was like, that's the right answer. And the thing is, like, I knew it was the right answer. So it's like I had to like level with myself and say like, hey, is this the right answer or is it not the right answer? And I was like, no, this is the right answer. So I almost had to like stand up for myself, as all of us must do. You have to stand up for your own perception, stand up for your own beliefs, stand up for what you think, what you perceive, and like, your perspective on reality. Because if you don't stand up for your own perspective, like someone will always try to feed you theirs. And I'm not willing to digest that.
So, what's your number one proof of Earth shape?
My number one
What
proof?
would you say your number one?
Yeah. So my number one proof is one that comes from my own childhood. So like, I don't know what Christmas it was. I might have been in like 3rd grade or something like that. My sister's in 4th grade, but my parents bought my sister, if I could be honest, this spirograph tool where it was basically a a plastic circle that had teeth in it, and then different
Years, yeah.
circles.
I think we all had one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So my sister's got one of those when I was a kid. So you put your pencil in the hole, and then you like trace the teeth all the way around, and it creates a really nice spirographical pattern. So when I saw that, and then I came across the thing about flat Earth, I remember because I grew up in the Catholic Church, there was always like the vision of Jesus like pointing at the sky with 2 fingers. And like for some reason, to me, that was significant. I was like, what the fuck's he pointing at? You know what I mean? And then I said to myself, it's like, well, why are all these like historical Roman figures pointing at the sky? And then I said to myself, it's like, well, all right, the stars are in the sky. That's really the only thing that's up there. And I was like, all right, well, let me study the constellations a little bit. And then I knew because I was in school and like I like seeing like the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper and Orion's Belt and all that stuff. Like I used to stare at the stars. And then when I came across a flat Earth argument that said, how do you perceive you're able to see the same constellations given that the world is moving in X number of planes of X number of planes of existence? And then I had to wrangle with that. And I said to myself, it's like, when I really looked closely at the planes of movement that the Earth is purportedly moving in, I said to myself, it's like, well, that's an impossibility. Because if it's rotating on its axis, and then it's literally creating that spirographic nature around the Earth, because remember, it's spinning on its axis and then spinning around the world, the sun itself, the reflection of Polaris and the concentric circles that are created above our head, that would be an impossibility given the spirographic nature of the Earth. Because I used to play with the spirographic toy. And I'm just like, for me, it was a clear no. I was like, impossible. So it's like, I didn't have to go back and forth. I knew it was an impossibility. And that's only the first 2 movements of the Earth's rotation. When you add the other movements, you're like, now it's just getting embarrassing. You know what I mean? Now it's just getting embarrassing. Because the first 2 already told me no. The 3rd and the 4th are like, fuck no. So for me, it wasn't very hard.
That? Definitely. Yeah.
Does it make sense though? Like what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
So
I clocked in about 11 different vectors, and then I stopped counting. I'm sure we'll find more because they're going deeper and deeper. If we take these new galaxies they found and all that, I'm sure we're going to get a few more vectors in there. So yeah, I have looked into that myself.
Yeah, but for me, like that was a very it was an irrefutable perspective that I can hold confidently because I played with this toy as a kid, and I'm like, well, Jerry, you used to draw these spirals and circles, like, because remember, like I'm my pen is in a circular thing that's going around this whole, because I'm like, well, that's what they're telling us it is, but like when I draw it out, it's not how it looks. And I'm like, I basically take the point of my pencil to be me in reality. You know what I mean? And when I see it spinning around and then I look up at the sky, I'm like, no, that doesn't line up as to how it should look if we're actually moving in those directions. So there was really, no one can refute that point for me. Well, let me say no one's been able to refute that point for me. So it's like I don't have to I don't have to shit on my own mind anymore. I can take my intelligence seriously for once and not be afraid to fucking exude it.
Well, I'll say this: it's definitely a big thing, right? Like,
yeah, it's a big thing to me. It's a big thing.
Yeah, they, according to their cosmology, they try to convince us that, what do they say? We're going at 1.5 million miles an hour right now at about 11 different vectors. So yeah,
It's insane.
I fully agree with you there on this one. Yeah. I mean, just the idea, just to ponder that. I mean, to me, it's like beyond. It's beyond imagination. It's like beyond physics. Physically, there'd be no way. It's not just I'm saying I don't believe it, right? I'm saying physically, it's an impossibility. Yeah.
Exactly. It's beyond reality, bro. It's not even possible. So it's like when I see that is happening, I'm like, I think like the young Catholic kid, I think about like myself at 5 years old in Catholic church. Like one thing that I realized in the Catholic church that I went to, I don't know if it was I used to get beat as a kid. I got beat a lot. But in the Catholic church that I went to, all of the kids were well behaved. All of them. It wasn't just me. All of them flawlessly behaved. And I was like, what the fuck? It's like, this can't be an accident because I go out to the real world. Nobody has any fucking manners. And I'm like, well, Jerry, I grew up in a church where everybody has manners. Why don't all these other kids have any manners? And I'm like, oh, they're stupid. And I almost didn't want to say it out loud. I was like, no, Jerry, they're just stupid. I was like, they're just stupid. And I didn't want to say it for my entire life. And now that I'm of age, I'm like, no, they're stupid. I was like, I can say they're stupid. And now discovering this flat earth thing, now I can actually back it up. I can actually prove how you're stupid. So it's it almost gives me a second renewal upon life, because my first goal was just money oriented. I only wanted to make money. And then I did extremely well and I made a shit ton of money. So I didn't give a fuck about money anymore. I went to all the best restaurants. I went everywhere I wanted to go, travel the world. I've been in first class. I've done everything I wanted to do. And then I was like, oh, I'm just tired of stupid people. I was like, that's my problem. That's what I'm angry about. Stupid people. Now, when you tell someone they're stupid, they instantly get angry at you, obviously. So I know better than to just call people stupid. So then I think to myself, I was like, well, Jerry, just use the Socratic method. Don't ever call someone stupid. Even though you know they're stupid, don't call them stupid. Ask them the leading questions that will get them to understand their own stupidity. And then they have nowhere to run. Because remember, you didn't tell them anything. You just asked them the questions that would lead them to understand their own stupidity.
Well, which people are you referring to that are stupid?
No, people in general, people that we interact with on a day-to-day, people that don't understand this content, or people that are just more emotionally based instead of reasonably and logically based. Because emotion, I believe, there was some rapper that I heard a long time ago, and he said something. He said emotions conflict with intelligence and common sense. And I was like, oh, that's so spot on. I was like, that's what I think too. And then when I started to observe reality, I was like, Jared, that's what's going on. There's people's emotions that are conflicting with their intelligence and their common sense. So thus they can't find the right answer because they don't even They don't even seek the right answer long enough to find it.
Finding the right answer and seeking the right answer, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's two different things. But
The thing is to know when you're sure that you have the right answer. That's a tricky
exactly.
one.
Yeah, that's a trick. I agree, 100%. 100%. It's a very tricky one. But if you're not even seeking it, that means you're not even digesting enough perspectives to be able to debate the point. You know what I mean? Because if, like, let's say somebody listens to like one newscaster on CNN and they start to espouse what they heard on the news because it sounded good and they were emotionally attached to that message. Now, my question to them would be like, well, can you debate the opposition to that point? And most of the time they say no. That tells me that they didn't even look into the opposition of that point. So the perspective that they're holding, even though they feel like strongly about it, if you just ask them, what is the opposite perspective of the perspective you hold? They can't answer it. It's because they don't know what the opposite perspective is because they never considered it. So for me, like, I'm big on asking people, like, well, I play stupid. I act like I don't know, but I know. I already studied both perspectives. And I'm trying to point out to them that you did not study both perspectives. And I think on most topics, there's not only two perspectives, there might be three perspectives, or four perspectives, or five perspectives, or six perspectives. And I think the more that people can be diligent about just studying the competing perspectives, they can like sharpen their perspective in terms of what they actually think, and then exude that confidently and comfortable into reality.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What would
Sure.
be your best argument to if you're talking to a normal person on the street, and let's say what you're saying, you're trying to convince them of
Sure. Oh,
this
sure.
shape,
Okay.
right? What would be your best argument?
Okay, very, very good question. So for me, it's like I would never take the position of trying to convince. So the once you hold the perspective of trying to convince, your voice tone changes, the questions that you're asking changes, and the person can almost sense you're trying to convince them of something. I would say to myself, because remember, I already know I know the right answer. I don't have to worry about like, you thinking I'm smart, right? So, because I'm not worried about you thinking I'm smart, I can play stupid. And if I play stupid, I can basically say to myself, like, well, where are you right now in your understanding of the subject matter? And, if I can ask some foundational questions, I would ask some foundational questions about the earth. I'm like, all right, so, like, have you heard of the flat earth, topic before? And they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's just crazy. Those guys are stupid. I'm like, yeah, dumb as fuck. I was like, yo, I heard about it. I didn't know what I thought about it. And then, like, I came across this one guy that talked about, like the FE core laser test. And I would present it to them as if I don't know what the FE core laser test is. And I would observe how they receive it. And I would do that for every piece of information I hand them until their brain clicks. Because once they scratch
So
their head, it'll be obvious.
You'd start off with the laser test?
Yeah, I
That would
would
be
start
your
off with the laser test. Yeah, for me, the laser test is like, because it's like a physical measurement of a body of water that's under their feet. You know what I mean? It's like, I believe that's the most tangible thing. So it'd be the 2 points I raise the most are the laser test, and then like the movement of the stars and the alleged global bodies that are moving. Like the Earth, and I would go to the laser test, then to the stars and the concentric circles and the movement of the Earth thing. Because like that, I think that's a bigger concept than a straight laser over water. You know what I mean? The movement of like the Earth. That's like there's like a couple of like axes of movement that the person has to mentally be able to grasp. So I think that's more work for their brain than just a laser over water that's level. And obviously they measured it over here, they measured it over there, same distance. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I believe that's a little easier to grasp than the whole movement of the Earth thing.
Yeah, but you heard them come back with refraction, right? Have you heard that argument?
Oh, of course. Yeah, but it depends if we're speaking to a layperson or someone that's debating against the flat Earth, right? So, for example, like when I see people that are debating against it, I'm not really trying to persuade them anymore. Because, to be honest, let's be honest, like the only way that this topic would ever exist or perpetuate itself into reality is there must be people that are perpetuating this lie. Because lies don't exist unless someone perpetuates them. So remember, there's no way for me to know who in the server or which people are like perpetuating it or which people are just like pushing against it, trying to explain the math. You know what I mean? So I don't try to like push back aggressively. I just try to present like the little nuances. I'm like, hey, that thing, given the curvature mathematics, eight 8 inches per mile squared, like that thing should be X number of feet below the horizon. And like, when they start to like push back against that, I'm not going to spend my whole day like, because remember, like I've got shit to do too. Like I don't have my entire day to explain this to you. And like how, for me, like I've already received the benefit of knowing that I've perceived all the lies and I know everything 100% is on my shoulders and it's on me. If anything, I'm grateful for this topic just to put everything back on my shoulders. Most people are living in some like Disneyland, Disney World delusional perspective. These are the walking zombies in the world. So am I trying to like change the walking zombies from being walking zombies? No. I'm trying to catch the few people that are actually paying attention, that are actually conscious, actually willing to have a reasonable and respectable back and forth conversation. So I can present my perspective, they can tell me what they think, they can ask questions, I can ask them questions, and it always stay respectful. When someone raises their voice, I'm like, all right, dick. I don't have to fucking be here, bro. Like I can dip on you. Because I already know the right answer. You need me. I don't need you. You know what I mean? And I think it's like because I know that is the position, I don't really worry about anything else.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing, bro. All right.
Yeah.
We
No
didn't
worries,
know
bro.
you. Now I guess we know you a little bit more. So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate you talking to me, bro. Thank you for the airtime.
Yeah. Cool.
Sorry, I thought I was on 27 before. Like that's why, like that's the only reason I was talking to me. I was like, yo, bro, so yeah, I've been here for years. I was like, but I didn't realize I was in the Earth Awakenings. I switched over.
So like it's a different vibe.
No, I understand completely. Like, I would have never like even said what I said before if I thought I was 27. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because like those are all my friends. I was like, yo, bro, like I can't hang out here all day. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, you trying to say I can't talk? I was like, that's the only reason I said that. But like, when I looked up and you said it was Earth Awakenings, I was like, fuck, Jerry. I was like, Jerry, you're gonna have to work these. You're not in 24/7. So apologies. My bad.
Cool. No worries. No worries, man.
Thank you for having me, bro. I'm here now. So, Sal, are you're from Montreal?
Yeah.
Nice. So you speak French as well, I assume.
I do indeed.
Nice.
We got a
Yeah.
big Haitian population here. Probably one of the biggest in North America.
Yeah. My godmother lives in Montreal right now. I have godbrothers. Montreal. I've been there 3 times.
So you still,
Montreal.
I imagine you still speak French, or?
Ah ouais, je parle français, ouais.
Oh, c'est très bien. Okay,
Ah
cool.
ouais, euh, je suis, je suis là. je suis, no, je suis. Oh my God.
Ah,
It's
so
been so
you got
long
the
since I practiced my
Americanized.
French. Oh, super,
That's what the
bro.
fact. Yeah. 'Cause
I used
a lot of Americans, they lose their second language.
oh yeah. French was my 4th language. So I lived in New York. I spoke English, Creole, and then a little bit of Spanish. And then I lived in Paris for 6 months, and then I picked up my French over there. But it's like, I've only been to Paris 2 times. So it's like I was there for 6 months the first time, and then I went back. Like when I worked with this company, we did a conference over there. But I did 2 weeks in Paris. But that was the extent of my French practice. You know what I mean? The 6 months and then the 2 weeks. So everything else is just from memory now. But that was like 22 and 29 respectively. And I'm 43 now, so it's been a little bit.
Yeah, there's a big Haitian community here.
Nice. And what's your nationality?
Well, myself, I was born in Greece.
Oh, nice. Yasu Tikanis.
Πολύ καλά, ευχαριστώ.
So I grew up in Astoria, Queens. So Astoria, Queens has a extremely large Greek population. I grew up a lot of like Greek guys. Played soccer, all that stuff.
Yeah, there's New York is awesome. Well, it used to be. I don't know how it is now. It's been a while since I've been there.
Yeah, I think it's disintegrating. Like given the political climate, it's like New York is like New York, Chicago, and LA are always like the epicenters of violence. You know what I mean? So it's like they almost erase the good with the destruction. If I can say it that way. There's a lot of good in New York, but there's also a lot of destruction. So it's these are the front lines, I would say, of like good and evil.
So what's up? Where's everybody tonight? Why is everybody so quiet? What's going on? Is there a holiday or something?
Listen, I'm
It's not
I'm
the
here
4th
hanging.
of July.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here hanging out. Like I don't know what's going on with everybody else, bro. But like I'm here trying to be a facilitator of conversation, not a detractor. A facilitator.
Well, it seems stuff was going on before I got here. I don't know. It seems like I got into the aftermath of a tornado or something.
No, I don't think so. I didn't observe when you checked in, but like, the guy north is like, I was chilling. Like, I was trying to just like, hey, bro, like, don't try to shit on me just because I got here. Like, remember, like, full disclosure, I thought I was on 24/7. He's trying to like tell me to shut up. I'm like, bro, I've been here for a little bit. Like, like don't play me. But like, if I knew I was over here, I wouldn't have probably piped up as much as I did. But there are people in the server, so maybe people are just kind of listening in, hanging out. I don't know.
Yeah, someone's gonna bring up a topic sooner or later.
Yeah. So were you born in Greece or were you born somewhere in the States?
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about myself, bro. To be honest with you.
That's okay. That's okay. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. It's kind of boring, you know.
No, don't be silly. Nothing is boring. Conversation is conversation.
So I'll tell you what brought me into this, since you told me what brought you into this.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it, bro. Thank you.
Maybe we'll spark up a conversation.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
What brought me into this is I was actually researching time. Now, time was always fascinating for me from I think from my 20s. Started looking into that, my early 20s. And yeah, and I was checking, doing the thing, the videos, the research, all that stuff, the books and all that. And before you know it, wham, I came into, who was it? I think I saw that comedian. Oh, what a coincidence. The guy from Montreal. Why do I always forget his name, man? It's bad. But yeah, everybody listening, I'm sure knows who I'm talking about.
You're talking about like Abba and Preach?
No. I always forget his name, man. It's not cool. And he's one of my homeboys too from Montreal. Anyways, and then Eric Dubay and that whole spiel, right? And yeah, that's what got me into it.
So what was the distinguishable proof that like led you to like be rock solid on it?
Rock solid on what?
On like the flat Earth.
Well, I'm not so sure about the shape of the Earth, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, but I understand the general term that people use, right? Let's not get caught up into that, right?
Of course.
But the shape, like, this is what I say. I'll tell you what I say, okay? When it comes to shape. What I say is this. If you haven't seen the object that you want to predicate upon as a whole, then you can't make a shape claim. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, complete sense. Complete sense. Yeah, I never try to speak to the totality of it. I just speak to what's under my feet and what we can measure. And in those, obviously we're not talking about topography. Obviously, I'm being like loose with my words, but if we just take the bodies of water and what's been measured, I take that as flat. I'm like, well, it's not a ball. You know what I mean? Because it can't be both. But I agree with you. It's just there's a lot to digest there.
Yeah, that's a biggie for a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of people get emotional over that.
I agree. You think I don't know? Come on, bro. You think I don't know? Bro, I've been in heated debates. Heated. Like I had this one random day, and I just want to share this with you. I had this one random day. I used to play sports back in my neighborhood when I was 13, 14, 15 with my friends. And one of my good friends I used to play sports with, his younger brother used to work at this barbecue bar and the cool part of our neighborhood where all the bars and clubs are at. And I just happened to be in there one day, just kind of having a beer, chilling out, cracking jokes. And then I'm talking to my friend's younger brother, and the guy that I'm talking next to, the subject of the flat earth comes up. And then I'm talking, his name is George, a Greek guy too. So I'm talking to George, and I'm like, yo, what do you think about the flat earth? He was like, that shit is definitely flat. He said it so confidently. And it's a kid whose brother I grew up with. I was like, see, a fucking smart man. And now I have to explain to the guy I'm sitting next to the flat earth, and he's backing me up. And we grew up in the same neighborhood together. So it was really easy to convert that other guy because he saw we come from the same logic, and I don't know, the way that we perceive shit. It was easy for us to explain to the third guy because there's two of us coming at him at the same time, as opposed to just me telling him something outlandish or him just telling him something outlandish. It was two of us at the same time.
Well, we have guys that come around, right? That take auto levels, they take them down to the ocean, and they look through see this picture here, right? They look through 16 miles,
Mm-hmm.
and they pick a hotel way yonder in the distance, and they try to say, look, the water's this high, and there should be this, where's this much missing, and so on and so forth. Yeah, they do stuff like that.
Do they feel like people are getting persuaded by that argument or no?
Well, no, they know we're not getting persuaded, but they keep, that's their thing. We call it tool abuse. They take tools that shouldn't be used for such things, and they use them anyway. So we got a whole range of, yeah.
No, I feel you, bro. I'm not gonna lie. This topic itself has cracked my brain wide open because I was such a very strict-minded person, very rigid through my entire life. So it's for me to be digesting this type of information and then be defending it is the 180-degree difference of who I was before. You know what I mean? But I'm so confident that I'm right. I'm not willing to bend on anybody that comes in front of me. I'm like, no, I'm right. So it's you can imagine the conflicts. You can imagine.
Anybody out there? Yo.
Yo.
What we doing?
All right. Seems to be quiet tonight.
You said that neutrinos are affected by light. New shit.
Say what? You broke up there.
Neutrinos are affected by light.
Neutrinos are not affected by anything, as far as I know.
Well, they just figured it out. Neutrinos are affected by light now.
Okay.
I mean, I just read the title of the article, so you know how that shit goes. They always just fucking lie to you in the science stuff for some reason. I don't know why they would do that, but
Clickbait.
it's like if somebody would come out with a thing and call it gas pressure without a container, just for clickbait, and then they would have the gas inside of a container, maybe some shit like that.
Bring in all the gas in a container, put it in a container. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, just
Shout out my buddy Blue.
all over the place. That's
Yeah.
your boy. You're my boy, Blue. We're that from old school.
Yeah, that was too good, that one.
Oh my god, bro! I've been working so fucking much. I'm like burnt out right now.
I hear you, bro. What are you doing? Waxing and shit?
No, school's in session now. I'm just cleaning my section, but I've been doing a lot of overtime. I've been doing DoorDash. I made $57 this morning before work doing DoorDash, so it's like never ending. I get a kid on a bus. It never ends.
Yeah, that's burnout city, bro. Yeah.
Like I want to get the kid on the bus tomorrow and go back to sleep, but if I do that, I'll feel bad because I didn't go make a few bucks doing DoorDash. And I don't know, man. Shit is so friggin' expensive. Like I don't know how people do this.
It's crazy. It's designed that way, bro. That's the whole plan. That's the destruction of the nuclear
I've known
family.
this. Yeah, I've known this from the beginning. Like this system is designed to get all your money. Like they want to get all your money. The same people giving you the money are the ones taking it. Like you work at say you work for Nabisco and they pay you an amount. They're trying to get you to buy cookies, and then these bills. This shit is not right.
Yeah, bro. It's disguised that they want your money. You know what they're really after? And once people figure this out, well, I'm sure a lot of people have, but you just don't really think of it.
Time.
That's right,
What
bro.
is it?
They're after your time. Exactly that. The thing that doesn't exist, the thing that you have limited of. Yeah, that's what they want, your time. They want you busy, and they want you not thinking, not plotting against them. Just busy little bees. Bzz, 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 bzz. And by the way, give us your children because
Remember
you're
that?
too busy working. Yeah.
That reminds me of this show called uh, I think it was called Rome. It might have been in Spartacus. I forget which show it was. It was one of those ancient Roman shows, and the guy's like, the guy's like, we have to keep them busy, otherwise they'll not they'll sit here and worry about what we're doing or something with circus and bread.
Yeah. You kind of broke up there quite a bit near the end, but I got the gist of what you're saying. Yeah. Are you moving around, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm all over my section in the school, so yeah.
You're coming in and out, but now we hear you good.
I need to get a cell phone signal booster, I think, but they're kind of expensive, so I'm just waiting till I get a few bucks.
I think it's a school, bro. Those schools, it's an old school, right?
Oh, I'm in a Faraday cage, bro. There's pipes and electrical conduits and all kinds of this whole building. I'm just encased by massive layers of metal. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anything will fix that.
No, cell phone signal boosters work.
Oh yeah?
Because I got like a hallway that's like L shaped. So it like meets at a point. So I could get like the cell phone signal booster and then put it in the spot and then put the other part of the cell phone signal booster in the spot where the hallways meet, and then I might be good off of that. I don't know. I had a cell phone signal booster before when I lived in Vermont, and it worked good. So.
Oh, in the school, you're saying? Yeah, that should work. I thought you meant some sort of thing on your phone or something.
No, it's a thing you set up where like you put it in a spot that gets a signal. You know, you put it in a spot that gets a signal, and then you bring it's like has a wire connected to it by another thing that transmits the signal.
Yeah.
Like boost.
I know what they are, bro.
Right. I didn't know if they had those in Canada yet.
Yeah. We're working on it. Right after we finish our igloo, we're going to be working on single transmitters. You know, we have one of the best, right? Like telecommunications, we're second to none here in Canada. You know that, right? We got such vast areas, bro. So look, if you need us to hook you up, just we'll take care of you. Like if you need some good boosters and stuff.
No doubt.
Yeah, Barrel Rider. Canada has internet.
Dude, I've had people ask me if we have McDonald's up here, or if we have we got street lights. Like, yeah, we got street lights. Hell yeah, we do. We're all over the street lights. Funny sometimes.
Man. All I know is you got to clean house. You got to start off with the lawyers, especially the ones in New York, right? Got to get them first, and then you'll clear out the country. The country will be better.
Is Gio there or Gio? No.
Oh, shit, I thought I saw Isa there. Try to pull a swipe at him. Did he leave before he heard that?
Yeah, Issa's not here.
I'm seeing things.
I was just going to ask Gio about this. You know the whole you can't make an elevation angle with a curved adjacent thing, and I've heard people say you could just use a tangent, but I really don't know enough about celestial navigation to, and I've not done it myself. That's the other thing. I always think you learn these sort of things from experience. I think I could probably talk you through it, like I could get a fix, but at the same time, there's a part of me, because I've never done it, thinking if it's me that has to get us out of a jam, yeah, I think we might be screwed. But what do you think, Essie, about this elevation angle thing?
We'd both be dead, bro. If me and you were tasked for navigation, we'd both be dead. I assure you. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If we had to use that method, because I got a glimpse of how they do it. Holy crap! Like, you got to know a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well,
there's corrections to corrections to corrections of the
Yeah.
correction. Yeah.
Well, I did, funnily enough, because I've watched loads of 10th Man presentations. I've probably watched a dozen. So I got their idea, even though I have no real interest in it, if I'm honest. And navigation in general is not my forte. But yeah, you can't not keep watching these things over and over again and not get some understanding of it. And their way of doing it sound pretty straightforward to me. And then I'm told this is a few years back now. This is 3 or 4 years ago. When was it? The elevation angle argument. It's probably 2019, maybe. I don't even know. I don't even know now. But anyway, so then I go to the the globe way. I go like, let's see how they do it on the globe. And I started like following along, and then I saw all this math, and I was like, shit, this is beyond me. This is just beyond, because I'm not a math guy either, So I was like, I'm lost. I couldn't follow along with it. So, and that's fine. I'm not going to beat myself up about it, because I'm sure if I persisted, I'd be fine, but I'm not that interested in it. But
Look,
yeah,
anybody could learn it. I'm sure anybody could learn it, just like anything else, right? But it is a skill. It's definitely a skill. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know math. You got to know how to read the almanac, right? You got to do calculations. You got to know all the corrections that have to be made. Yeah, it's not easy.
Does an elevation angle give you the height above the surface?
An elevation angle. The way they explain it, they take a 90, then they subtract, and then they take the height of I, blah blah blah. Yeah.
the glorified protractor. That I don't know. That made sense to me.
Yeah, but does it give you the height above the surface, though?
No, it's an angle. As far as I know, it's just an angle, right? It's not a height.
Yeah, you have to make a correction for the height above the surface.
Wait, what are you saying, Jeremy? Height to the height of I, the height of the what? The ceiling, or the height of the person holding the sextant?
the height above whatever you're making an angle to? Does that give you a height? Like rise over run?
They're all the same
Rise
height,
over
aren't they?
run doesn't work on a sphere because they're using a horizontal
I think you're roboting Jeremy, or I am. I'm not sure.
Work on a ball because
Well,
they're using a horizontal baseline. But it's giving you a height above the surface. I don't know about this, what this elevation angle does. Just because you're making a straight line out on the distance.
Yeah, Jeremy, you're roboting, dude.
I
For me,
think
anyway.
I think I kind of caught the gist. I think what they do is like, say you're 6 feet above the sea level and you take your measurement, you have to correct for that 6 feet at that point, and that's what they think they're shooting the straight line to.
So sorry. Well, that's the dip correction they were talking about, though, right? I thought.
Yep, dip correction, exactly.
Well, anyway, like I said, when I went to the globe, see how they do it, and I tried to follow along, and I was like, I can't do this. I didn't try much though, only for like 15 minutes or whatever. But yeah, I've just been listening to them going over it over on that politics server, and I was like, I need to go and ask Gio or Witsit or somebody. Well, I'm sure Witsit doesn't know too much about it, but he's a phenom, isn't he, old Witsit? So I'm sure he'd have some good ideas on it. But I've heard him say before that, yeah, it's not a good flat Earth proof or whatever.
Not proof for anything.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so rise over run, you get a height. It uses a horizontal baseline and it gives you a height, an elevation height. If this elevation angle doesn't give you an elevation height, like a height, an elevation, and I don't know what, just because you make a straight baseline, just because you make this supposed straight line in the distance, that doesn't tell you what the ground's doing underneath you. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you made a straight line. What are you telling me? I can't get an elevation angle if I'm on the side of a hill or something? It doesn't mean the ground's staying level with you or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they think this does, but I went on Oakley's one day. He tried to explain it to me, but I was like, bro, I don't see what you're doing here.
I thought they were making triangles though, Jeremy. I thought that was the idea. Are you saying they can draw the triangle on top of anything?
No, the triangles don't work. Maybe they do. I don't know. I hate fucking with shit with the sky because now you're in this weird thing of, what's the sky doing? How's the sky work? Are these actual geometric positions? I don't know.
So we have this thing we have Euclidean geometry. Is there such a thing? Well, apparently there is such a thing as non-Euclidean, right? This globe. So to me, that it doesn't seem to make sense because it's Euclidean. The whole point of it is flat surface, is it not?
There's no such thing as non-Euclidean.
But that's not what I mean. If you go type it out and have a look or talk to any of these globers, they'll tell you, no, there is.
It's
they can tell you whatever they want.
It happens on the SC. You've seen the 5-sided square. Don't even start.
Yeah. Well, you know what you do, Andy, when they tell you this non-Euclidean, right? Tell them, okay, let's see your axioms. Show us your axioms. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well,
See what happens.
they say it happens on the surface of a sphere. So I mean, the surface of a sphere is a thing, and we know you can't do Euclidean geometry on the surface of a sphere, right?
Well, yeah, it's
There's no straight
non-developed
line.
surface. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Not in
so that'd
3D,
be if you
not
were
in
going to do the
3D space.
geometry on. What's up?
I mean, you know they got to transform it, right? I don't mean that, but I loved when you battle them on this because I stand with you. Like it's not a sphere anymore once they transform it into a 2D. It's
You
not.
can't
I love when you.
transform it into a 2D. It's a non-developable surface. You can't
I
put a sphere in a
respect it.
2D. You
I
can't put the
respect it.
SC just said it. It's not. Go ahead, Don.
Look, I respect it. You know, I've heard you battle them nicely when Kosho tries to unwrap the surface of the sphere on you. You stand very firm, and I want to just pat you on the back for that.
Don, you got to be on the payroll. You got to be paid to interrupt Jeremy. I mean, come on, bro. Is it good money? Can I get in on it?
Every day. How much are they paying you? I want to cut.
I want in.
Yeah, you can't unravel it into the 2D. That's why it's non-developable. As constant positive Gaussian curvature.
Gaussian curvature, yeah. I love it. But isn't that when you get into
It's
your
curving from every
non-Euclidean?
point.
Right.
Like every point on the surface of a sphere is curving away. So it's constant positive Gaussian curvature. Like a cylinder, that doesn't happen on a cylinder. It doesn't happen on a cube. Only a sphere, and I think there's something else. What are the other non-developable surfaces? Does anyone know? There's not many shapes, I don't think. I don't know if it's more than just the sphere. Anyways, I don't know about this elevation angle thing. It doesn't sound like too solid of an argument to me. I don't know what the result is. You're just getting an angle above the straight line you made. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Now what? How does that tell us what the ground's doing underneath?
So you can get an elevation angle with
why
the
does that
adjacent. That's
tell
what you're
us
telling me, Jeremy.
anything about what the ground's doing underneath the shape? You need to have that straight baseline, but it doesn't tell you what the ground is doing underneath the baseline. You could get an elevation angle if you're on a hill.
Well, that's what I hear. Yeah, you
right?
can
Does
get
this not work on a hill? Am I robot?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm trying to give you room, but it's tough. This is what Bev kept saying, right? Right, I see. When I went over to his server, he was like, "You can get an elevation angle off a mountain." So
Exactly. Yeah, he's right. You can get an angle from anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you anything about what's good. That's why I think this is an absolutely. Hey, you need a flat baseline, a flat line, horizontal line to get an elevation angle. Okay, and then you have your elevation angle. Now that doesn't. I don't know if that tells you anything about the ground underneath it.
All you got is an angle. That's it. Just an angle.
So,
like if you were doing rise over run, you'd have something here. You know what I mean? If their argument was rise over run can't work on a globe Earth because you use a horizontal baseline, that makes sense in my mind, and that's an actual argument that has some kind of coherency to it. This elevation angle, I don't know, unless it does something I'm not privy to or something. I don't know.
No, but even rise over run, you can do that on anything, Jeremy.
No, you can't. Rise over run gives you an elevation. If I make a horizontal and I go up 1 foot, at the end of the horizontal, I've raised 1 foot in elevation. That does absolutely not work on a globe. That can't work on a ball. Absolutely can't work on a ball.
How are you thinking it? You can measure rise over run.
You can't get.
Are you saying
You cannot do rise over. You can't do rise over run on a ball because it's using that is using a flat baseline for elevation. Because if you start off, say you start off and you make a horizontal and you're at 10 feet elevation at the beginning of your line, 10 feet off the line, according to rise over run, you raised 10 feet in elevation. That can't work on a ball. That wouldn't work on a ball because the elevation curves. So rise over run, yeah, horizontal baseline makes sense. What's up?
I said I see how you're looking at it.
Yeah, it doesn't work on a ball. Just straight up. That makes more sense in my mind than elevation because I don't know what do you get now? You just have this angle to a thing. Now then, you didn't figure out what the ground was, what the elevation was doing. Not like there's nothing to it that I can see. Like I said, maybe I'm missing something.
Well, look, this navigation thing, right? This is one way to navigate. The people have been navigating for thousands of years, right? The stars move a certain way, night after night, day after day, year after year, month after month, right? And people figured out a way to navigate using them. That's it. There's no shape proof here. Because you look at stars in the sky and you make certain you find certain systems how to navigate it, makes no definitive shape claim. You can make a shape claim using that. That's what I say.
Well, I thought that they were. If we think about it from the glorified protracted comment that I made earlier, which I've heard from 10th Man a million times, then they get in a 90, aren't they? And they subtract him from that 90. So you're saying that you can get that with a curved adjacent, the curved line underneath, the curved, baseline, if you will.
Are you talking to me? Because I'm not saying anything of the sort.
I'm talking to anybody who knows anything about fucking celestial navigation. Because I mean, like I say, I know a little bit, but I thought the point is that we're taking an angle measurement from whatever object in the sky. We're using that baseline on the floor.
No, it don't have nothing to do with the floor. You could do this on a mountain. You could do this over rolling hills and valleys of Ireland or Scotland or whatever the hell they got going on over there. It doesn't matter what the ground's doing underneath you.
How does that work then, Jeremy?
How do you get an elevation angle if you're over the rolling hills of Ireland or something?
If you're on a mountain, yeah.
Yeah, you make a straight line out, and then you make an angle to the star, and now you have an angle.
Yeah, I'm still not following. So you'd have to make the correction though, wouldn't you, to the the person taking the measurement from the no. I thought the whole
What
point was drawing
correction?
a triangle.
I don't know. I went on Oakley's. He told me triangles don't work.
What? I thought.
Yeah,
Oh my
I went
God.
on Oakley's. I went on Oakley's because I'm like, oh, well, we're doing triangles here. He's like, no, the triangles don't work. Because he's always asking for evidence of the distance to the sun. I'm like, bro, we got it right here. Make your triangle. You got a triangle going on. He's like, no, it doesn't work. So, I don't know.
I mean, I think there's a triangle there, right?
There
Can you
is,
see
but
in the
they say it's
chat?
no. I know there's a triangle. There's 3 points and 3 straight lines. Yeah, I don't know. This is
It's what they
Are
say
you
in the
confusing
talking
pyramid.
about a triangle from the Earth to the Sun and 2 points on Earth? Because you guys know that triangle is too delicate to measure.
No,
I mean,
that
Matthew's here.
triangle's too
Matthew can help
delicate.
me out.
would be a star, the ground point, and the observer. Those 3 points.
Where do you
Can
get
I,
the ground points?
wait. Can I just ask Matthew? Because I wanted to ask somebody. So Matthew's here. Matthew, I've heard people say you can just use a tangent. Could you explain that? Walk me through that, please.
Sure. If you look at the triangle you just posted right there, a tangent is the relationship between the far, like if you're standing in the middle of the image, that far vertical line beneath the star or the sun, that line is the opposite, and then the adjacent is the line that is going along. Yeah, thank you. So the tangent is just the ratio opposite over adjacent. If you divide those two things, it's a ratio, and it's related to that angle theta in the left hand side. That's a trigonometric identity. Is that what you're talking about, or like a tangent to a sphere?
Yeah, so you can get an elevation angle with a curved adjacent.
Yes.
Right.
But you don't even need to. You can ignore the horizon altogether when you're doing celestial navigation. If that's causing contention, just ignore because what matters is the angle down from vertical of a star.
You can't get an angle from a straight line and a curve. What are you talking about? You need 2 straight lines for that.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the curved base. That's the
If you put a curved line onto a straight line, that straight line is called tangent to that curved line.
Right. So you changed everything. Right?
No,
so you just created a line out of the blue.
Right. You create a tangent line out of a curve. So that way you have 2 straight lines, and then when you have 2 straight lines, then you can get the angle in between.
Except you don't have 2 straight lines because you just made one up.
Right. You make one up, and that's called a tangent line. The made up one is called the tangent line.
Right.
Either way, it's a horizontal line going out into the distance. It doesn't matter if it's like that's why I don't think this argument really does anything, because you're just making a straight line out in the distance. You can do that on a globe, you can do that on flat Earth, you can do that on concave Earth, you can do that on dinosaur Earth. Like I don't
Pineapple
get
Earth,
it.
banana Earth, yeah. If you have an Earth the shape of a banana, you can make up a way to navigate on it. Polynesians did it, the Egyptians did it, the Chinese did it, and I assure you, they did have no almanac. No almanac was used at all. No corrections, no nothing.
Well, like I said before, I'm terrible with this stuff. I've had like both legs in the spiritual realm for quite a while, and so I wasn't a very practical person before that either, to be honest. So I feel like there's some people playing games, and it's
Oh, you think so?
It's annoying. Yeah. It's
what
annoying.
What gave that away?
and for someone like me, there's I'm not very practical, and I'm just like, but I can when I focus and I really concentrate, I can kind of turn my hand to anything. But yeah, I feel like you actually need to go out and do this to really know it. Do you know what I mean? You need that experience, or I don't know.
You can go do it all day long, become a champion on it. You still cannot make an Earth claim on it, an Earth-shaped claim. That's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're the top navigator. It doesn't matter. You still cannot make an Earth-shaped claim.
Yeah, I think Matthew would probably agree with that, actually, by the sounds of it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Do you agree,
so I would say that the mathematics of celestial navigation are based on an assumption, and so maybe it's not a claim, but it seems to match the assumption. So if you do triangles, you end up with trigonometric identities, nonlinear, non-proportional type, equations. But if you do celestial navigation based on a globe, you end up with stuff like 60 nautical miles per degree down from vertical. So it's a linear equation, or linear is just a fancy name for proportional. Like if you have twice as big of an angle, you get twice as big of a distance to the ground position. And that doesn't work with triangles. Maybe that's too complicated to say. Basically, something is proportional or not proportional, and triangles aren't proportional. If you have twice as big of an angle, then the ratios aren't necessarily twice as big.
Well, the thing is, I know exactly what Oakley would be. He'd be screaming at you now, saying, "Use the word angle, Matthew."
Yeah, what's wrong with using angle?
Well, because we need two straight lines, and that's going to.
Yeah, there's a straight line to the star, and then you make up a fictional straight line that is tangent to the curved globe that you're standing on. Or you could, if you don't like that, you could use the plumb line and ignore the horizon altogether and just look at the angle to the star. I mean, the line to the star and the line from straight up. That's the real number you need. What's the angle between straight up and that star?
You're going to struggle using
I don't know why we're even
on a boat.
Right. So that's why they don't use it on a boat typically. I'll be back later. I got to take off, but yeah, I'd be happy to answer.
Thanks for that anyway, dude.
Yep.
What were you going to say, Jeremy?
It's probably in a dead spot. I'll say this, Andy. Forgot about this one. If I remember correctly, when I dabbed into the celestial navigation, and I really don't care. Doesn't really mean anything to me, right? But I just looked into it because everyone was talking about it. Guess what the first thing they do when they start their calculations? The first data they put in.
I'm not sure.
You're going to like it. Estimated position.
Estimated position. Oh, that's interesting.
Like where you think you're at. Yeah. Where your last known position, like where you think you're at roughly. If I remember correctly, maybe somebody could correct me listening. I think that's the first bit of information they put in.
Yeah, because they must have some idea of where they think they're going. So that kind of makes sense to me.
Well, they know where they're going. They know where they want to get to, right?
Yeah.
But they also have to know roughly where they are to start. Yeah, you're lagging, Jeremy. Yeah, big time. Put it this way, Andy, if this will ease your mind, right? Think of it like this, right? We're sure people use the stars, right? And we're sure the stars work in a clock kind of a fashion, in a gear kind of a fashion. Motion after motion, day after day, week after week, month after month, right? Now, how are we sure of this? That the ancients knew, because we have the Antikythera mechanism. So we know they figured it out from back then. And it's been working the same since at least, when was it? 200 AD? I think it was built, something like that, around that time. So it's at like 2,000 years old.
Yeah, the term almanac goes back to Egypt. Well, it's they say it's what they saw it once used in Egypt, but basically it came about, say, when it was popularized from Latin, obviously, so it'd be 12 something, I think. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously, I've always thought that these ancients knew, as I've said before, these oceans were barriers. Deserts and mountains, they're barriers. These were their highways. And I'm absolutely convinced that they traveled, they had to have done, because they found all kinds of things in Egypt that they could only get from across the water. So,
we know they have made it to
yeah.
this. We know Africans, for example, made it to the Americas. We know for sure. Why? Because we have those huge stone almanac heads. I mean, they're the size of cars, like, right? We've all seen those, right?
Yeah.
So we know clearly they've been there. So that's a fact.
Yeah, this is what I was saying about. I mean, some historians talk about, spirituality, and one commented that something like there was so little between them, it wasn't worth mentioning. Which leaves, well, I suppose that gives you a few options. One, that there is a very real, how you'd think divine inspiration works and comes straight through the man and straight to the page. Or they absolutely knew of each other, like they were very much aware of each other, and had a very similar idea of spirituality. This is why I said before, I like that book Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching. Well, the Tao translates back to English as the way, and this is what the early Christians called. That's what Christianity was, the way, and I don't think that's a coincidence. And there's lots of things like that as well. So, yeah, I'm sure they were very much aware of each other.
It's amazing. The stones are, like, I think one of the avenues of us being able to, the only way we can see the past, right? Because that's the only thing that survives. And the
Yo, do we
stones
got an
seem to
event?
lead to, yeah.
My bad. Do we got an event going on in 10 minutes here?
I think so, yeah. The beginning of
Why
math.
does it say zero
Yeah.
interested?
That can be. At least
Shit, I
I
almost
clicked
started
interest.
it.
I noticed
I
JC23
almost started
just
it.
came in. JC, how you doing, dude? I was going to say hello to you early, but you left.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, dude. Yeah, I was messaging you saying I'd sent Dell an email, invited him to the server, but he's probably not even seen it. Yeah, I wish he'd come in and talk about his ideas, because yeah, I love Dell. So
Yeah. Well, like I said, that was the whole idea behind setting up this server that I set up. Also, was just kind of specifically for that discussion, but it's brand new, so it'll take a little time and effort to get it off the ground.
yeah, I watched his last stream and I'm enjoying it. I started watching everything on 1.2 now, and Dell's okay at that speed, but I don't know if that maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. Some people talk slower though, don't they? I don't think it's probably a good idea to watch Witsy. But
No, probably not. No. Yeah, the weird thing about that is a lot of people from over here in the States, like I'll send them a link or something to one of Dell's videos or live streams, and a lot of people over here in the States say, "Oh man, I can't understand that guy." And I don't, like, to me, I've never had a problem understanding him. Like, even when he gets pissed and goes on one of his rants, I read you loud and clear, man. I don't know. Maybe it's because my family originates from that part of the world. I don't know.
yeah, when I was a kid, I used because my dad's side of family were from Scotland, so we'd go to Scotland, and then because I was a child, I'd just soak it up like a sponge, and I'd basically sound Scottish for a little bit, you know. And but it soon go. As soon as I came back to England, that's it. Because I remember they had a dog called Tia, and they'd like Tia, and it just sort of stuck with me a little bit, and then it'd go away. It happened when I go to France, like because we go to France for a few weeks, and then I could sort of go into a shop. Say once we went for like 18 days. By the end, I could go into the shop and talk to the guy and order some food and some milk or whatever. And as soon as I came back, it was just gone in 2 weeks. So you really have to immerse yourself, don't you, if you want to learn it? Because I've always wanted to learn a different language, but you have to really immerse yourself, I think, in that culture.
Yeah. I've heard of something like that before. Like, actually, like my stepdaughter, she's 21 now, and like she's left where we live and moved to a different part of the country, where there's like a different accent. Like the Midwestern United States, they have kind of their own distinct accent. And I've noticed that when she comes back to visit, she kind of has picked up some of that accent a little bit. So, yep, I understand that.
Yeah, I've known people who I'd known as a kid, like they've got to move to London, and then I've spoke to them like 20 years later, and they've lost this like Midlands accent, and they sound very different. That London accent's taken over, sort of thing. It's hilarious.
Yeah, a little while back, I actually got into a little discussion with, I can't remember who it was. It was someone over in 24/7, but they're from the UK, and I was curious of like who, because we have quite a few different accents within the states. But this guy from the UK was telling me, no, mate, in the UK, man, you could walk 2 blocks and find a different accent. So I was wondering which had more variations of accents of the English language. There is quite a few in the States.
I like Chemo's accent personally.
Chemo's.
You know who Chemo is?
I probably do, but it's not ringing a bell right now. You got the Midwestern accent.
Me?
Yeah, sounds like it at least.
Nah, East Coast.
I don't know, man. I lived in New York my whole life.
I've got the Midwest accent. He's more East Coast. I don't even know if I have an accent, but I'm from Chicago area.
Bro, you sound like an Outer Ponders with accent.
I think that's where I'm kind of picking up because I spend so much time talking about the Outer Ponds. I have a little bit of an Outer Pond dialect at this point. Yeah, you're right.
Jeremy sounds like Goodwill Hunting to me. He's like, what about these Harvard bars? I know that's more Boston.
Really?
Yeah, you do. You sound like Goodwill Hunting.
How you like
Shane,
them apples?
do your best Goodwill Hunting. How do you like those apples, Shane?
I can't.
Yeah, I really can't.
Come on.
I can't do it.
Dude, the fake Boston that he doesn't like The Departed is more hardcore than you'll ever hear it.
Shane, did you get a number? Did you get a number, Shane? Come on.
I've never heard someone from Boston fake Boston accent so hard than Ben Affleck in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, see, there's several different Upper East Coast accents. There's several different Southern accents. You know, the New Orleans accent is very distinct from a Texan accent, and so on and so forth. I mean, we have quite a few accents, but from what I've heard, it's nothing compared to the UK. So
You got that real gritty kind of accent, like I don't know if you guys know that guy Rizla. I think Crypto's got the same accent as him too, kind of like a more gritty accent.
Crypto gritty? No, Crypto's posh.
Is he?
Yeah, he'd from what we'd say, he'd go so he was born with silver spoon up his arse.
I meant crack villain. Crack villain.
Oh, crack villain. Yeah, that's more London. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crack Villain says that Jen from Japan, he says that Jen's got a Cockney accent. And I it's not very thick because I've heard Cockney before, but I guess it's Cockney, or at least that's what he agreed to when Crack Villain was telling that. And I'm like, oh shit, Jen, you must have the biggest Cockney in Japan. We got about 3 minutes countdown till Alan's going to do his presentation on how math became reality.
I don't think Gio's there because I wanted to ask him about elevation angles and this curved adjacent business, and Gio's not there. So, but we had a good talk about it a little bit.
Hopefully,
Gio doesn't like that argument either. I'll tell you right now, Gio don't like that argument either.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he's with that.
Hopefully he shows up because otherwise, if Alan needs,
I can start it. Oh, on YouTube? Yeah, I can't do that.
I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm
Sweet.
here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm getting it ready. I'm getting a few things ready on the, because I'll start a new video for it. So it's its own video. And then,
hey Gio, tell me the truth. Is the presentation that Alan did recently, kind of on the spot here? You ended up cutting that out, right? The one that he just did recently, was it on the Michelson Morley? Is it an experiment?
That one is recorded in its own video. Yeah. So it's its own. It's its own video.
Is that the first one you've actually made its own video on this channel? Because I haven't seen you do that before. Okay.
No, we've done a lot of those in the past. Yeah.
Have you? Okay, I hadn't seen it before.
I mean, sometimes if it's a separate video made for it, then yeah. But it has been a while since we've made one like that, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be. Do you have a section that has those separated, or are they kind of just mixed in with the live stuff?
Well, I guess it's listed on the list of videos. I think it would be possible to make a playlist. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, you might want to do that. If there's others I've missed, maybe I could go back and look at them.
Yeah, playlist would be dope.
You guys sound like everyone's ready for another dose of how math became reality, huh? I can feel it. I can feel it in the room.
I made a good joke. People were complimenting me for it. You guys want to hear the joke?
Oh no, Dave! Don't go too far.
Yeah, Dave, go ahead.
Now it's not going to be funny because I'm setting it up as if here's the joke. It wasn't just a comment that was funny any longer. But Alan's done this like 3 times already. So they were joking about how many times he's done it. And I said, you should do 100 more times. And they just call it how math became reality, became my reality. And it was dead silent, just like it is now. But these guys really appreciate it. It was too funny for them to laugh, in fact.
But it's one of those jokes that's only funny to me, who's seen this presentation 6 or 7 times. And that's why it was funny, right? Like without the context, it's kind of.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.